It's the 13th of the month of November in the year 2025. Good morning. Welcome to the morning news. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news app here at Adesawe Kanda. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana and on DSTV as channel 279. My name is George Queenie. Top of the stories is Board of Inquiry set up to probe Elwak stampede, which killed 6 people, as government assures families of support. Ahead of the budget statement later today by Dr. Kesela to Forcing, we bring you expectations of businesses and Ghanaians. Also coming up this morning, heavily armed police and military joint forces raid Dadrin community to arrest suspects linked to a recent attack on the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, and a group of journalists. Well, we have details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Also, you can get interactive with us. We are live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from this sad development. Family members of victims of the military recruitment stampede that claimed 6 lives are yet to be officially informed as the identities of the deceased are still being verified. The tragic incident has led to the suspension of the screening process. Joseph Armstrong Gold Alugbe has more.
What started as a dream came true for many young Ghanaians hoping to serve in the military quickly turned into a nightmare. As early as 6 a.m. Wednesday, November 12th, soldiers on duty had a difficult time controlling the huge number of applicants who had thronged the Elwak Sports Stadium. Over 2,000 applicants queued from the 37 bus stop all the way to Elwak Stadium, causing massive traffic congestion in the area. Within minutes, the numbers doubled, and when the gates were finally opened, chaos ensued. The stampede broke out, leading to the death of 6 applicants as of the time of filing this report. Those who could not make it into the screening center has been asked to return on November 13, 14, and 15, depending on the category they applied for. However, some applicants were adamant, saying they fear being left out. You've been asked to go and come tomorrow.
Yes, please.
Why are you still here?
A friend told me last year she applied and they told her to come on Saturday, but she came and they said it's done. So I'm not going.
So it's an issue of trust?
Yes, please.
You don't trust the system?
Yes, please.
Somebody said he has been here for the past 2 years. It's still the same thing. And he's going through the same thing he went through last 2 years. So what is it?
Soldiers on duty tried to disperse the crowd but were unsuccessful. Later in the day, President John Dramani Mahama, accompanied by some ministers and the military high command, led by the Chief of Defense Staff, CDS and service chiefs, visited the 37 military hospital where the injured and the deceased were taken. The commander at the 37 military hospital, Brigadier General Evelyn Abraham Kwabia, briefed the media.
Casualties we have that came through were 28 in number. Those who are dead are 6 and not 12. Those who are critical and in ICU are 5. We have 12 who are fairly critical. The rest are stable.
Although the recruitment process has been temporarily halted, hundreds of applicants continue to camp around the Elwak Stadium, hoping not to miss the next round of screening. For many of these young ones, their dream to serve their country remains alive. But for the families that have lost their loved ones, their pain will linger for long. Some security analysts have advised, should we have about 8 centers here in Accra, this stampede could have been avoided. Many also believe that for us to reduce the crowds that throng the Ghana military recruitments, all security services must embark on their recruitments at the same time to reduce the numbers seen at each recruitment. Joseph Armstrong, Gold Alugbe, TV3, Elwak, Accra.
Meanwhile, the military says 28 people were conveyed to the 37 military hospital for treatment. Out of the number, 6 have been confirmed dead, 5 are in the ICU, while 12 remain in critical condition. Brigadier General Evelyn Vivian Abraham Kwabia, commander of the 37 Military Hospital, confirmed the number when President John Dramani Mahama visited the hospital after the stampede.
Casualties we have that came through were 28 in number. Those who are dead are 6 and not 12. Those who are critical and in ICU are 5. We have 12 who are fairly critical. The rest are stable.
She's going to address you on the details.
Well, away from the stampede, from households to businesses, expectations are high. As the nation awaits the 2026 budget, my colleague Grace Hamwa-Ajiman takes a closer look at what goes on in the mind of the Finance Minister, Dr. Kesilato Forson.
For the Finance Minister, the countdown is not just about numbers, but about people. Families hoping for stable prices, businesses seeking relief, and workers waiting for clarity. Balancing these expectations is no small task.
Economic development in the first half of the year do not warrant a revision to the macroeconomic target and the appropriations bill. Mr. Speaker, I am not asking for additional money from the Appropriations Act. Although we have made significant progress, we are cautiously optimistic.
Inside the ministry, it is a race against time. Former Finance Minister Setekwe tells me it takes analysis and simulations. While advisors weigh every policy option, the minister studies every line to represent the hope of the nation.
We wouldn't even be within, our comfort zone. And therefore, it means that we have to do more. We must be cautious. First of all, with false accounting, pushing things into footnotes and the rest. It won't make us complacent. But we must also be conscious of measures at the primary balance, which can also make us complacent. We need to overachieve.
And these lines in the budget have real-world implications for the market woman, for the trotro driver, and the minister must also think about balance.
Dollar no some bra from my because your new man at CDs safer and to $20 and ba for my CDs. Stable.
Currency stability is what we want, especially with the CFA and the dollar.
Oh, budget what me now to man be a tax when they go no what me if you are not no man be.
There are a lot of taxes on goods and services. We want them reduced.
For economist Dr. Edu Owususa Akodie, the minister is not new to budgets.
The minister is not new to this. Last year he presented the budget. I think few days before the budget, he went to the market to have a feel of how the actual markets run. So we think that by now he should be crossing the T's and dotting the I's. By now, all MDAs and MMDAs have submitted their budgets to the minister. I'm sure by now he'll be doing some last-minute touches, doing rehearsal if possible, and especially making sure that his speech syncs well with the people of Ghana. He's a politician, so he might give it some political color.
IMF conditions, debt sustainability, wage bills, infrastructural demands, and social protection expectations are high, while the minister wraps up. As the finance minister ready to present the budgets, he presents more than just figures. He carries the hopes of a country, and Ghana will definitely wait to see if the 2026 budget will meet these expectations. Grace Hamwa-Ajiman, TV3 News, Accra.
President John Dramani Mahama says government will work closely with organized labor to roll out reforms aimed at strengthening the public sector and improving service delivery. And the president is confident the reforms will help set the economy on a sound footing and promote socio-economic growth. The 14th Delegates Conference of the Public Services International opened in Accra with a call on government across the world to invest in strong and efficient public service institutions.
This International is a global umbrella organization representing more than 30 million workers worldwide. In Ghana, members include the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOCSAG, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, GRNMA, the Public Services Workers Union, PSW, and the Public Utilities Workers Union are affiliated members. At the opening of the conference, President John Dramani Mahama highlighted the critical role of public service institutions in driving growth and development.
This calls for a new social agreement between government, labor, and citizens. It must be a partnership that is founded on fairness, productivity, and mutual respect. Our strategy, therefore, is to work collaboratively with organized labor to develop reforms rather than impose them. Because genuine reform only succeeds when it is done with workers and not over them.
He said government will collaborate with organized labor to ensure that policies such as 24-hour economy are effectively implemented to boost productivity and job creation.
Move forward towards a 24-hour economy. The public service remains the driving force behind this transformation. A 24-hour economy relies on efficient and responsive public institutions, hospitals that operate around the clock, ports and customs officers that clear goods smoothly and seamlessly, and local assemblies that provide services without obstruction and delay.
The Executive Secretary of CLOGSAC, Isaac Bampo Ado, urged the President to ensure that persons appointed to public service positions are competent and qualified.
In the Gold Coast, between 1920 and 1940, where political officers were required to pass examination on the law of tort, law of evidence, and native law before being confirmed to their positions, current political appointees could also be made to pass examinations in the public services before they are appointed.
The president of Public Service International also expressed concern about the difficult conditions facing public sector workers, facing public service workers across many countries.
The union legislation and austerity have eroded protections, leaving millions of public sector workers in precarious employment. We see non-payment of wages, delayed salaries, casualization of labor, undermine livelihoods.
The conference is expected to discuss ways of improving efficiency in public service delivery and strengthening international cooperation among member unions.
As part of new passport reforms rolled out by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, persons who require passports within 24 hours due to essential reasons can have them processed at all passport offices across the country. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says new passport fees, which have been reduced from 500 cedis to 350 cedis, will take effect from Thursday, November 13, 2025, which is today.
Since the introduction of the chip-embedded passports, 215,807 Ghanaians have applied and received their passports, most of which were delivered by courier service. According to the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, all backlogs of over 40,000 uncollected passports have been cleared. Announcing the rollout of the new passport fees, which take effect from Thursday, November 13, 2025, the minister noted that adequate systems have been put in place to manage the anticipated increase in passport applications.
There are some who may be thinking that because of the reduction in fees, the quality of the passports will reduce. No, it's the same quality, the same chip-embedded passports. We are also not rolling back on the reforms. The passports will still be delivered to you without a fee. You don't have to pay the courier service providers. We are not going back to the old biometric passports. We are phasing that out. The same convenience, courier delivery, and also the same number of pages. We are not reducing the number of pages because you are paying 350 cedis. It is the same value. The value, the quality, the convenience is the same. The only thing changing is the fee.
The Foreign Affairs Minister noted that persons who may require passports within 24 hours due to unforeseen circumstances can now enjoy an expedited service at a fee.
Excited to announce to you that we have put in place all the measures, the logistical arrangements, the technical work has been concluded. And from tomorrow, if you want to obtain a Ghanaian passport in one day, within 24 hours, same day delivery, you can get it. Once you apply, you meet the criteria, and you pay the special rate. So after all of these consultations and research, we decided that 2,000 Ghana cedis is a decent sum for that one-day super expedited service.
The minister has promised that the 6 newly created regions will have their own passport offices by the close of the year.
Well, you can share your passport acquisition experience with us. We're active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana, and those who are yet to receive their passport as well, let's know what you make of this very initiative. We're active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Hopefully, your comments will be read and shared to the rest of the world. And now, heavily armed police and military joint forces have raided the Dadrin community to arrest suspects linked to recent attacks on the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, and a group of journalists. 5 journalists were injured after a thug of illegal miners chased them out of their Dancy enclave. William Evans Inkum has filed this very story.
I wish to notify communities that attack public officials and security personnel performing their lawful duties that firm action will be taken against them.
A statement from the Commander-in-Chief that will change the course of the fight against illegal mining.
As you are aware, we are going to undertake a special operation in the region. You know, the locations will be disclosed as we move. All what the Inspector General of Police want you to do is to be professional, extremely professional as you conduct your business.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge the fact that we are going to work with and on human beings. Let's ensure that we do not trample on the law as we execute our duty.
Yes, sir. A full-scale operation. Dozens of heavily armed security personnel from the Ghana Police Service and the Army combined. Destination, Dadrin.
Hey, John, wait. Be phone now, Hey, get up now. Get up.
This is where a thug of illegal miners attacked the executive director of the EPA and her team, including some journalists. A chase out that resulted in an accident involving 5 journalists and 2 officials of the EPA. It sparked public outrage. The dawn operation was swift and unexpected.
For now, everybody is a suspect, and they are moving from room to room, and they are pecking them.
Even the public toilet was searched. Families got agitated. The suspects were escorted to the police depot for screening. Also at the depot were suspects from Hwidiam in connection with the attack on the Naimos team.
Well, away from the Ashanti region, some 191 persons have been arrested in a military police swoop in Ehi in the Ketu North municipality of the Voto region. The combined military police operation follows a violent attack on the Ehi police station, leading to the vandalization of police vehicles and other stationery.
The combined police-military swoop conducted Wednesday dawn was in response to an attack launched on the Ehi police station by some irate youth in the community on November 5, 2025. According to the police, the youth attempted to lynch a suspect who had turned himself in after allegedly stabbing another young man to death during an altercation. The attack led to the vandalization and subsequent closure of the police station.
The situation was so bad. The attack was so intensive. They vandalized 2 police vehicles that were there to serve the command. Police equipment, TV, and stationery were all burned down. So it also, a constraint on the police administration. So I believe sincerely the Inspector General of Police is working around the clock to post more men and to retool the station so that very soon they will start operation. We cannot deny other innocent citizens of their right or their right to security.
In all, 191 persons believed to be connected to the vandalism have been arrested.
As we speak, we have in our custody 191 suspects, 190 male and 1 female. We had the intel that some also relocated from the village just after the incident. It clearly means that they have questions to answer. Today we couldn't get them, but we are on a lookout for them, and I believe we'll get them soon.
The 191 suspects are currently undergoing screening at the police regional headquarters here in Ho. The police administration is saying that those found to have questions to answer after the screening will be duly charged and arraigned before court. Faisal Abdul Idrisu.
The Finance Minister is expected in Parliament at 2 p.m. to present the 2026 budget statement to Parliament. Trust your authoritative TV station TV3 to bring you all the updates here and also on all other platforms. My name is Josh Quinn. For more news updates, log on to our website, is 3news.com. Have a good morning.
Charlie. I even love that. It's a choose to be optimistic. It feels better. The Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Wow. Shadrach, Abe, and Anita.
Yeah.
Innovation. And then even Grams Morgan makes it even more beautiful.
Yes.
How
I
are
like
you?
this song.
Just 24 hours?
Yes.
After going through your birthday period?
Thank you so much.
How was it for you? I hope you had some great dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Spent some time with your friends and family.
Had some seafood.
Yeah.
Some natural juice.
Great.
I mean, it was really nice. Okay, fruit juice.
Yeah,
Let
fruit
me just
juice. Natural. Yeah, it's still natural.
Let me just clarify that.
But
yes.
A day after your birthday, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much for.
I wish you a fruitful year.
Amen.
May all your dreams come true for you.
Amen. And thank you so
whatever
much.
you desire, may that also be replicated and may it come to pass.
Amen.
You're
Thank you so much for yesterday. I really had a lot of fun.
Good to see you once again.
Yes.
In great spirit.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Engineer Samwachum. Engineer Samwachum is a loyal viewer of ours. Says the mother is called Beatrice.
Oh, nice.
So he's always just liking the way you are.
Thank
and
you.
loving what you tend to ooze out.
Thank you.
Your vibe is, as the Gen Z will say, is dope.
Thank you. Yesterday I had a message from someone as well who said the mother is Beatrice and she was equally celebrating her 69th birthday.
Oh, 69th birthday.
Yeah, so belated happy birthday to her as well. I was just intrigued by that.
Great,
yes.
great. Okay, and then Guy G, you know Guy G?
Yes.
Okay, says hello to you as well, and that it was good seeing you yesterday.
Yes, thank you so much, Guy G. Thank you all for celebrating my day yesterday. It was really great. Thank you.
All right, so all of you, welcome to the show. We're grateful that you have made time to watch us once again, and it's not only on mainstream television but also across social media. Just in case you're now dressing and getting out of your home, please make sure that you log on to TV3 Ghana across social media. It could be Facebook, it could also be TikTok or X, formerly known as Twitter or YouTube. Get to watch us as many times as you can. Or if you're also one of those loyal viewers like Prince Nani Ao York, Zilis Dwayne, Uncle Charles Thompson, or let's say even Mr. Mensah, that's Chrissy Mensah, who lives in Albany, New York, and you have to work, and you're not closing your shift, don't worry at all. You can also watch us on online as well, social media as well.
Yes.
It's a big day. We have the budget. Yes.
It is. But it's also a budget coming a day after a disaster, right? So it's kind of mixed feelings, really.
Yeah, certainly. And incidentally, the finance minister is the acting defense minister.
Yep.
And you could see that there was the readiness on the part of the president, the other ministers, including him as the acting defense minister, to readily go and brief Parliament on the tragic event of the Ghana Armed Forces recruitment that took place at Elwak Sports Stadium right here in Accra. That just went south. It just didn't go well.
Because the crowd was crazy.
Mammoth. And
it was crazy.
Just to recall, yesterday, I used that route incidentally.
I equally did.
Yeah, the airport bypass, and then you, but I used the airport, you went through main Bema Camp Road.
Exactly, and I was shocked.
I saw them, and the first thing I said was I was going to be late. I didn't think that by the time that we'll finish the show, and then the incidents were recorded just within the time that we were climaxing or closing the show, we're going to have the stampede that we did. But you look at the mammoth crowd or the rally in it, the crowd, the numbers in themselves, and you have to say that it didn't have to take some fatalities or deaths for us to change the way we do things amid all the best technology that we have in the world today.
And that's why it hurts me that in scenarios like that, it always reminds me, and it seems the country is more reactionary, because really, it didn't have to take this to happen for us to, like you just said, realize that we need to put in the right mechanisms, even for Parliament to have a conversation around this. I mean, it shouldn't always be like this.
It's just bad. So we want to have, and it was still yesterday that I was talking about why some of the armed forces of this world choose not to look at body sizes within the various segments of the personnel that they have.
Yeah.
And so these days it's no more machoism. I was having a conversation like that.
Yeah.
So the missiles that Iran, for example, threw at Israel, I'm sure those who man those drones or those automated equipment that were throwing the drones or the missiles won't be more than 50.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Yeah. So it's no more like the 18th century or the 19th century, or let's say you're having a First World War, a Second World War, let's say a conflict somewhere, and you have to amass 20,000 troops to be in a battlefield. These days, everything has gone to tech.
And more of intelligence gathering and all of that.
But so it's the intellect of the person that forms your army and the basis by which you make the battle decisions, so to speak. Because these days you don't make the decisions based on how many troops should be deployed elsewhere, but what sort of technology and the mindset in managing those technologies for the deployment.
US didn't have to go to Iran to send what it did to destroy
that nuclear plant, for example. They just used some manned aircraft, some drones that were also unmanned. And so I think that I don't know, there's something structurally wrong with our society. It's not particularly only about Ghana, but the African continent. And it is also because if you look at the nations that have lagged behind, the Western countries, and how some of them, especially China, you take the ASEANs, for example, whether it's Singapore, it's Malaysia, it's Indonesia, among many others. And then you even take a look at the Arabs now, those in the Gulf, whether it's Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and how they've used their own monies to be able to transform their society. And we still seem to be lagging behind the development of the world in that paradigm and not shifting.
Especially
there's a clear problem with us as leadership. And we're talking about all facets of the society, whether it's a political leadership, it's a civil society, etc. And something has got to change. We can't be doing the same things all the time and be expecting different results. It just won't work. And I don't know whether I see the right sort of people within our generation that are radical enough to be able to conform to things that would transform
and unfortunately,
and then give us the change.
I don't even see that. You see a lot more people who are going in for the leadership positions because it gives them, that boost. It gives them that, not necessarily because they really want to make any change, but they have to be there. You don't see a lot of people like that.
It's so sad.
When I look at pre-independence and even a little after independence, you see the kind of leaders the country had. You could see that they really wanted change for the country, but you don't seem to see that. The passion is towards what can I get and what really in terms of my immediate satisfaction, and it makes it sad. And the fact that every time we see the problems, but we don't want to fix it because sometimes people benefit from the problems and the ills of society. So we really need to fix this. That's people don't have to die because they wanted employment. But again, something also struck me as I was coming yesterday and I saw the huge crowd and I was wondering what was happening. So I remember stopping severally and asking people who were driving in different lanes, and they confirmed to me that that was what was happening. And the first thing that came to mind was, wow, if we had jobs, or it wasn't that difficult for people to find jobs, you wouldn't see this huge crowd as well. And so it's a challenge that needs to be dealt with from all angles. Which is why we still have a lot of young people.
And so that angle that you point out is right. And I think that, so the president has been voted into power and he has this enormous responsibility to be able to create jobs and to have young people mass up. And yesterday, when he went to the 37 military hospital, you could see clearly from his demeanor, he knows that he has great responsibilities. He only has a term. Somebody else will have to come and continue. But the point is, what avenues are there? If people had choices, would they want to join the security services, i.e., whether it's the army, the fire service, etc.? And so there's something that's plaguing us. And it doesn't only speak to us, those young people, but even the generations to come.
But again, aside from the issue of leadership, there's one thing that I've also heard a lot of entrepreneurs say. A number of the young people, it's like they want to work, but they don't want to work. And so you're giving them responsibilities and they're either doing them half-heartedly and sometimes
Which
you
is
hear...
true.
Yes, you hear a lot of them...
I have those experiences all the time.
You hear a lot of them say that you're you're giving them jobs, they are giving excuses.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with this entrepreneur who said that she employed about 3 young ladies and none of them wanted to work. One repeatedly was coming to work late and she was having problems with why the madam was asking her why she was coming to work late. And eventually she had to say, listen, if you can't stick to time, then you have to go somewhere else. After 3 months, she didn't find any place and she wanted to come back and say, I'm sorry, I want to now follow your time. And she said it was too late. And I was sad for her because she had the opportunity. And so as we are asking leaders to create jobs and to ensure that the environment is okay for especially young people, there also has to be that reciprocity on that side as well to ensure that it's a 50-50 kind of, or it's a win-win situation for everybody. And then we move forward as a society.
Yeah, you're right about that, the generation. There's something, and I think that maybe we need to reorient ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do like very manual work. Yeah.
They want
laborious
quickly,
work. They don't want to do laborious work. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's I don't know whether it's tech, maybe because they have a lot of things they can make online. There are smart ways to make money.
Yeah.
So I think it's a generational thing. I'm not saying they are lazy, but it's just that these days you're not going to have your designer or your tailor or your seamstress tell you that I have somebody who wants to learn work.
Yeah, no, they don't.
So people are not doing hands-on work.
Yeah.
They are not learning the trade.
Yeah.
We don't have tradesmen. We don't have people who wants to do masonry, who want to do carpentry, who want to do something that's more like your own work.
But it's also because of the mindsets people have that I need to be in an office, I need to wear a suit.
Yeah, but it's the orientation.
But they forget that, there are a lot of people who are doing these jobs that are far richer than a lot of people in the offices. But they don't realize it. The prestige of being in a suit and being in an office, they think that's all there is. And yeah, I mean, there has to be a whole orientation, reorientation, as you said.
Anyway, let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
And so we'll be discussing that for our this morning segment. We're opening that up for a question of the day for that segment, asking you what you make of the incident of yesterday. What can we do as a society or a country generally when we have these mass recruitment? Forget about it being only the security services or the Ghana Armed Forces. I mean, generally, we tend to have mass admissions, people massing up for maybe whether it's service or something that they've got to, then we have them. What can we do? Can't we use technology? What do you think? And then the fatalities as well. Preventable, right? So perhaps somebody should take a flak for it.
Yeah.
Somebody should, in other countries, people would
resign, actually,
yeah.
even if it was just one person
So
who died.
we can talk about that for this morning segment. And then we'll look at big issues. It's a big budget day. We'll have the finance minister in Parliament. That will be from 2 o'clock, where we'll have our team from 1:30 who will be here bringing you a lot of previews and then doing all the analysis. But this morning, we're gathering all the big guns, those who tend to speak on issues of finance, business, entrepreneurship, the economy generally. Joe Jackson will be on. We have a couple more people from the Importers and Exporters Association as well, and from agriculture, everybody else. And then we'll Guta, etc. So then we'll also talk about the subject matter of what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And that will certainly have to be the first. Then we'll take strongly the subject issues of the budget and what our expectations are of Dr. Kisiel Atoforsen. And we have cash out, don't we?
Yes, we are giving out money. Today is Thursday. We are almost close. I mean, we're almost at the weekend. So remember to dial *439#. You follow the prompt. Pick your favorite platform. It's right here on TV3. That's number 2. So don't forget, play more. Roland will tell you need to play more than 40 times. Then you get the chance to have your number up here so you can get 1,000 cedis, right? We are giving 10,000 to 10 people, I believe so. And yes, you choose number 2, which is TV3, your favorite platform. Dial *439#, follow the prompt, pick your favorite platform. And you get the chance to win 1,000 cedis. And you're welcome to the This Morning segment. You're welcome to This Morning segment on Newday on TV3. And we have our first caller. Major joins us live now on the phone. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you once again for joining us. I hope you're well today.
Oh, by the grace. And I thank God that you celebrated your birthday, but I was not aware. I didn't get it. So I wish you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
In fact, I am not a happy man this morning because of avoidable situation that we as people should have. And what we hear is that it is God who gives. Let us give unto God. Who said that? If it happened to you, will you be happy? If we have put you in the mortuary, will you be happy? This is very avoidable. A P1 people can arrange this without making it causing us. So the military leadership should be questioned and fined. They should send them to court. When we begin doing this, people will realize doing right thing. Because how can just giving a number that is maybe 500 people, even voting, general voting, what have we done? Haven't we reduced the numbers because of stampede, the polling stations? Because of that, we have splitted polling stations to make a number very minimal. And a military, a security agency, you couldn't detect this. Yesterday, I went to read him, and the town was very empty. And we are talking about this, and these two avoidable things have happened. So, as we were saying, in Ghana and Africa, we always put our eye on a white-collar job because the society don't embrace people who are into vocational and technical. I will use mine as an example. When I was schooling at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, I did hospitality management. A whole mathematics teacher, when we were writing a combined class, he said, somebody was making noise. You know what he said? The hospitality people should keep quiet and let people who are writing a better paper write. So I said, I fight that lecturer. I nearly provoked to have slapped him, but with the intervention of someone. So if you are doing this, are you not demoralizing others? And I think these are the things we need to talk about. So if we want people to get interest, there are so many, I used to say, there's money on the street. We are stepping on it. But because we don't know that we are stepping on money, we are rather struggling for money. Money is on a vocational and technical courses. But because we don't package it well, we don't make it attractive. People don't want to venture into that area. And I sided with you, you and Roland this morning. It's time we sit up and reconcile how we do things to see what we can be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Major, for calling us and for sharing those views with us. Yes. So, I mean, it calls for us to put a lot more effort in encouraging people to take up the TVET courses and to even build them up the more.
Well, that's true. We have another caller.
Yes, we do. Good morning to you, sir. Tell us your name, where you're calling us from. Hi. Yes, sir.
Madam, first of all, I want to wish you a happy birthday and then to pray that God gives you good health and then strength so that you continue to give us the kind of good quality service that you've been giving us every day.
Thank you.
Having said that, I think it's very regrettable that we've seen another kind of disaster. Barely 3 months after the helicopter crash, though we are yet to come to terms with that, and then boom, another one also comes. I think it's very unfortunate, and I pray that God has mercy on the lives of those who have gone and those who are injured. In fact, we pray that they are recuperated very soon, so that they will go back and continue wherever they stop. But I want to blame the organizers a bit. Because they should have, anticipated that such a thing will come. Because the last time they did this kind of recruitment in the military was 2021. After then, there hasn't been any kind of recruitment. So the numbers are colossal. So they should have known that when they open the application or they are going to do such kind of things, yes, the people will come. The numbers will be there. So why didn't they put in proper measures to kind of forestall what happened yesterday? I think it's very, very unfortunate that and then we should try so that next time we don't see such kind of thing. But there are some people who are also blaming the current president and then the government and saying that the president is a bad luck president. I don't think we should politicize this kind of thing. It's not the best, okay? Because this is not the first time we've seen such kind of thing. In 2001, when MPP came to power for the first time, we all remember what happened at the Ohimjan Sports Stadium in Accra. There was a stampede there, a football match between Accra House of Oak and then Asante Kotoko resulted in a stampede where we lost as many as 126 lives. So, and it was as a result of stampede. So if you compare that one, it was much than that one as compared to what happened yesterday. I'm not just trying what happened yesterday, but this one is better than what happened there. So we shouldn't kind of politicize it. And then going forward, I think that the government has to work on the issue of this unemployment. In fact, it is having a problem on the youth of this country. So we try and make sure that we have employment avenues so that the youth will get there, so that we don't see this kind of issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling us from Wali Wali. Really great points he makes there, dealing with the unemployment situation and also really organizing this very well. But let's go to another caller. Good morning to you, sir. Tell us your name, where you're calling us from.
Yeah, good morning, TV3. This is Ayub Feminachu, calling from Western Region.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, the concern is about the seatbelt for the military recruitment yesterday. It was really bad. And one thing I realized that does it mean that the military personnel who is in the IT department doesn't know that the number was too huge that cannot contain such number of people that were applying for the training. And moreover, too, I think they have applied in the department, Navy, Army, and staff. I'm sure they will have a particular number that they might work on a day, and they could have planned the people in a batch so that such incidents will not happen yesterday. I think if they make it okay tomorrow or yesterday like this, we are only focusing on the army people to have their checks and all stuff. I'm sure this population will not be there strong there running up and down and saying some of them can have not sure the system. That might cause some of those injuries. And additionally, for the technical and vocational institute, I realized that for me, from GSS to my university, if you check all my certificates, I'm a full technician. I've realized that with my students, I've realized that the government doesn't give more attention to we the technical students. And I don't know if it's the background. They feel like we don't know anything. I don't know how to put it. The attention is not there. So the attention is more on traditional or agrarian students. Most things that will come, they push it to them and they leave technical students behind. And when it's time to construct our road, they go outside there, they bring Chinese to do that. Why we have there the name that we have technical students? Why can't we put more effort in them to elevate them to become something tomorrow? Is it then why do you have the technical schools in Ghana? Not only school, right to university. Attention to be given to us. Today, when a child wants to go a very technical course, the mother will tell him or her that, no, don't go there, they like smoking. But the grammar students, they even smoke more than with the technical students. I've traveled around, I've seen a lot of them. But still, the focus is given to them. So TV3, you are our voice. Let our leaders at the top, they hear our voice. They should give some attention, some packaging, nice one, special one, for technical students. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling us from the Western region. The point we were making earlier, the need for government and leadership to pay more attention to technical and vocational studies in Ghana. Yes, but there's a world-class university right here in Ghana, Rosebank International University, a strong South African university and a brand of the ADV Tech Group, Africa's largest private education provider with 146 schools across 5 African countries and over 100,000 learners, and partly owned by the World Bank through the IFC. Rosebank International University is fully accredited by the South African Qualifications Authority, the British Accreditation Council, GTEC in Ghana, City Guild UK, and the Capsicum Culinary Studio. At Rosebank International University, we offer a Doctor of Business Administration, MBA, Master of Science and Master of Philosophy in Digital Marketing, Bachelor of Supply Chain Management, targeting professionals in freight forwarding, customs, etc. We offer as well hospitality and culinary arts, available at the diploma, undergraduate and postgraduate levels. ICT has BSc Information Technology in Business Systems and IT Computer Application Development, all carefully designed to equip you with the skills and qualifications needed for a successful global career. Our mission is simple: inspiring excellence. Admissions are now open for January 2026. Visit our modern campus at Airport Commercial Opebia House, Accra, or apply online at www.riuc.edu.gh. Rosebank International University, building global citizens. Let's go to Francis now, who joins us on the phone. Francis, good morning to you. Tell us where you're calling us from, what you make of what's on the table this morning for conversation.
Good morning. My name is Francis from Northwest TV.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Roland, we say Ansma in our local language. And when we say Ansma, you say Ese. So Roland Ansma.
Enter.
Okay, so it's quite unfortunate that we are having this situation. At least that will tell our government that the youth really need jobs. It's not easy. It's not easy. If you see the numbers that turn up, it was a clear indication that the government, they need to do something when it comes to employment. Now, the next issue would be about the armed forces. It's like recently they are coming into the news too much. Look at what happened when we lost our gallant men. I'm thinking that the report is nothing to write home about. Why am I saying this? We had people that were in charge of monitoring the weather. We had people that were in charge of making sure that the jet was fit for purpose. You can imagine our defense minister. They are talking about losing our defense minister. And people are working freely without edge rolling. And see that the armed forces, they are beginning to have this posture that they are untouchable. I would suggest that those that are in charge of supervising or those that were in charge of monitoring the weather before the flight, I suggest that they should all be sacked and imprisoned. Because it's not easy to lose. If, let's say, if we were in other countries, I think by this time, hairs would be rolling. But look at what they are doing, and look at what happened yesterday. And even look at how they were communicating to us. I feel that they are having this posture of, you cannot be touched, so I'll do whatever I want to do. It's not like that. If the president is not careful, I'm seeing these armed forces to revolt against him. So he needs to be careful. Thank you very much. And answer my again.
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling in and sharing those thoughts with us. Thank you so much.
I have a couple of comments, so I'll take you through. This one is coming from Chief Mante in Akosombo, said, it's as if our leaders in this country don't take the citizens of the nation serious at all. So it means that the recruitment authorities didn't have any plan as to how organized this program should be to avoid the disaster. The outcome has been very sad. Let me say good morning to you. That will be NS Akota, great guy, as well as Roland Jan Kwafo, great guy as well, and John Terry, JT Molaja, wishing you all the best. You're wondering why we don't have Kukon Kete policy launch on our discussion belt, and I'm sure it's dovetailed into the budget discussion. So we will try as much as possible to be able to bring that up. Coming from JT, that's John Terry Molaja. Wishing you all the best for the day. And then Patrick is also wondering, Esquire is also wondering why we don't have on our flyer Solomon and Zato. Well, we brought them yesterday, so that will be very repetitive and could create a viewer fatigue as well for the editorial and then the look and feel. All right, so pardon me. Next time we'll try and do better. This one is coming from Cephas. Cephas also says that our security services, especially the military, they do have a serious problem. He continues, in this day and age and time, during a recruitment exercise, we have soldiers pushing applicants around and hitting them on the chest, and then also with paste sticks and putting them through rigorous situations as if they have commenced their military training already. Then he brings this one. He says, this is anachronistic. This should change. Thanks to all of you. And this one is coming from Richard Amankwa, aka Kwashi. Good one to you, Mr. Kwashi. He says, thank God for a new day. And then say happy birthday to Beatrice for me. As for what happened yesterday, only God knows. What I was expecting them to do was to let the respective candidates come. And like, let's say they'll come and join the military today for those who want to join the military. Navy the next day, and then also the Air Force the next day, and the Army maybe another day as well. I think that could have avoided all this problem. Richard Amanko Kwashi Putina, and I think they make sense. So we have the Ghana Navy.
Yep.
We have the infantry, so we have the military in itself.
Yes.
Then, of course, we have the Air Force.
Yes.
All right. So you say the recruitment should be apportioned or scheduled in such a way that for the mainstream army, this is what we have.
Exactly.
For Air Force, come at this stage. Just like the way you're supposed to do registration if you get an admission to a university or something like that. They don't lump everybody together and say come together.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, somebody would say that this is easier said than done, but I don't think this was also complicated to organize either. I mean, we can always manage huge crowds. I think we do have another call on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Gabriel, actually. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Tell us where you're calling us from and what's on your mind.
Good morning. A belated birthday to you, and send my greetings to Roland.
Thank you.
This is Gabby. He normally calls me Gabby.
Okay. Hi, Gabby.
It's a day of, in fact, yesterday was embarrassment, and I feel ashamed for this thing to happen to a country like Ghana at this day and age. Like you rightly said, the military is divided in so many ways. I think they have the Air Force, they have this. And so I don't know how come they did not decentralize this process to the extent that they pack our youthful, our team to that particular center. So my point here is that the government, especially the acting
Defense Minister
of Defense, should let them probe this process very well. And as to how much these innocent guys paid. Because if you look at the number, military should have known the number that they are supposed to recruit. And so if you are selling a form out there and you get to that number, you close the system. Or if you want to, you decentralize the system. And I'm saying that those who will not pass through this process, their money should be refunded to them. Because it's not fair. Just look, if you watch, look at the numbers, the guys back there, and how many of them are going to be recruited. You see? So we are saying that, for me, let us not put, Mahama has nothing to do with this. It is the military and their system that didn't work. And so they have to be cautioned. And those who have to be disciplined have to be disciplined. Because the country is going forward. Mahama is doing everything possible to make things work. And now look at this kind of embarrassment. The international community is looking at us as if we are going to, I don't know what it is, whether it's rally or what. It's so embarrassing. So we are pleading with the system. This one is not talk. Let us not talk. We have to act on this now. Some of us are not going to leave this matter. We have to make sure that we get to the root those who have to be punished so that it serves as a deterrent for the next year recruitment in the police, in the other services that will be doing recruitment, so that they do proper structuring.
Thank you so much, Gabby, for calling us. I think we do have a female caller. Good morning to you, ma'am. Tell us your name, where you're calling us from.
Good morning, Beatrice. Good morning, Roland. How are you, my guy?
Good morning.
My name is Olivia.
Olivia.
Olivia, yes.
Did you call yesterday?
I did.
Yeah, great. Thank you for staying loyal always. He says we're having a lot of females trying to binge on the call routine because it's not easy to get through the number.
Exactly. You have to call
Olivia. Shadrach Abe says that if you're not married,
oh my God. Shadrach says he's
if you're not married, he'll marry you.
He should see you. I'll give you all the details.
Fantastic. So I hold the key.
About the issue, it's so sad. Another Black Wednesday of losing 6 young women. I mean, it's so sad to take care of your child. I mean, through it all, and then you pick your bag. I'm going to look for, or I'm going to try and see if I can join to any of the services. And then all that a parent will hear is to lose his or her daughter. It's so sad. The military has failed at this point. Yes. If you see the videos rolling on social media and on this station, it's some way. I saw a lady trying to climb the wall to get into the LWAC and all that. Please, the military, we believe so much in them. We have hope in them. They should just try and organize things well. This is so sad. It is sad to lose 6 people. It's sad. They should try moving forward. I'm sure lessons are being learned from this. We shouldn't wait for disaster and stuff to happen before we learn lessons. We've come out of age. We've grown. Ghana is grown. We should be doing better and well than this. I'm sad. I was really sad about it. And may God have mercy on our nation, and then no more Black Wednesday. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Olivia, for calling us and also sharing your views with us.
Okay, and I'll have a couple of them as well. Good morning to you, Edmond Combat, Managing Director, Temawa Refinery, Alhaji Jibril as well, National Security. Wishing all the best for the day. And this one is coming from, so we have this one coming from Prince Enrico Fodria, who says that very unfortunate incident yesterday. May their souls rest in peace. We could have done better. PHK. That's the hashtag in there. And then this one is coming from Master Planner Junior, Policy Analyst Kintampo. The stampede at the LWAC Stadium is so worrying. We have to put in proper strategies to prevent a future occurrence. All right. And then we also have Bonti Benjamin. It is very sad to lose patriotic youth in their quest to serve their beloved nation. Let's take a cue from yesterday's challenge at LWAC and put together modern measures in our recruitment processes. Rest well, patriots. Bonti Benjamin bringing that to us. And then Nelson Akotia says that let's even assume all those applicants got the chance to enter the stadium. Can they finish with all of them yesterday, or could they have finished with them, all of them yesterday? What at all is this? Young ones fighting for their future, and this is what they got due to someone's negligence. Somebody has to be held responsible for this. Kofi Kwating Ngamanin Kukuro says, to say institutional failure is to diffuse moral responsibility and culpability. People run institutions, and those entrusted with the safety of hundreds of hopeful recruits, many of them young women, failed. Some officials plainly slept on the job. Until we name and shame and hold those people who are in those positions taking the decisions accountable, negligence will remain costless and the same preventable tragedies will recur. All those insulting the president and etc. They should hold those institutions and their heads responsible, and they alone should be responsible. Simplicity, you say. And then I have Kwekweron. Good morning to you. He says that we're watching you live at the new Tafo Government Hospital, the emergency unit. So say hi to Mabel. Mabel, the new Tafo Government Hospital emergency unit. Mabel, good morning to you. Camille as well. Kwekweron or Aaron Brasso. He says, this Ghana Forces recruitment could have been avoided. And what happened yesterday? Navy for Wednesday, Army for Thursday, Air Force for Friday. At this, we would have reduced the numbers and also prevented what happened yesterday. I think that the same thing Richard Amankwa-Kwashi also said. Akasokri Joseph said, I wish all those who were hospitalized would have automatic entry into the armed forces. Those who die, their families also to nominate one person to replace them. I think I saw somebody post them as well. I see a couple of people as well. And Philip Abuchi Keta says, bro, it is very sad. Just going to look for your daily bread, and it has resulted in death. Oh no, we need to restructure our whole system. I think the military men must reshuffle their thinking. My condolences to the family. Philip Abuchi from Keta. Mama War of Yasogli State says, yesterday's incident was such a great loss to Mother Ghana. May God grant them eternal rest. More messages are coming. Do we have another caller?
Yeah.
I should continue reading.
Oh, there's just a message.
All right. Not be it for this morning, but I have a couple more. Olabode. And then also I see Ismaila Horoya, and then also Eben from Kwabenya, and a couple of you as well. Sorry, I couldn't read all your message. I see Isaac Hughes as well. Says happy birthday to you.
Thank you,
and then
Mr.
says
Hughes.
that Isaac Hughes Takrade says that this was unfortunate, and so we'll see how that goes. And then this one also coming from, let me read this one. Savior Nyanyobo. Good morning to you, Nyasa. Says this is avoidable. The leadership of the security services should have programmed the recruits for different days for different sections of the Ghana Armed Forces. We saw similar things during the recent admission of first-year students in some senior high schools. All of them put together, general arts put together, science put together, where parents complained over overcrowding. Let us wise up, in quotes, as a country and program ourselves if we anticipate overcrowding. We should remember our population is no more 12 million, 20 million. We're now over 35 million. Thanks, Nyasa Aveda.
There's a short message from Kwablavi of Pokwasi, Benghazi. He says Ghana has lost some future leaders and people are doing politics with stampede disaster by blaming President John Mahama. Why do some people do politics with everything that happens in this country? Thank you very much, Kwablavi, for sending your message as well. Remember that hunger can strike any time, but Royal King Cracker is always on standby when you need something enjoyable to munch on. Royal King Cracker brings the crunch and the buttery taste. It fits right into your day, morning, noon, or night. Royal King Cracker, choke your hunger. Just grab one and enjoy. This advert is FDA approved. And you're still here on Newday on TV3. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll bring you some more and the big issue as well.
on the fiscal side and the monetary side too. And so we have the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Isiama, leading that charge there for the monetary side by way of managing monetary policy. And then also Dr. Kisiela Tufosen alongside Ampim Nyakun, who also is a Deputy Minister for Finance, also Member of Parliament for Isujamai, also managing that charge there with all their team and the technical advisors and those in the market. But for us here is to represent the consumers and then the various segments of the economy, what we could have done better, what has been done right, and how that could be the foundation on which we should be expecting policy initiatives. For example, yesterday, the Nkukon Ketenkete policy was launched. But it also means that we also have to do that in such a way that when we have to look at the import substitution, we'll be in a position where for those produced locally, we could also have the market for them, whilst we also look at the import side. All right, it's very important. And for importers and exporters, very critical. For consumers, important as well. So what we've decided to do is to put together a team from all facets of the economy speaking for them. There are regulars right here on the channel TV3, but more importantly, they also speak to the issues in the absence of all of you who should be seated here as viewers, as consumers, as policy analysts, etc. And so I have just close to me, he's a regular right here with us, and so we will just do the introduction as quickly as possible. Nelson Kuagbeji is a finance and tax person. Thank you for joining us, Nelson.
Thank you very much for having me.
My own good friend, Samson Asaki Awingobit. He is with the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Actually, he's the executive secretary. Good morning. Very
Good morning.
In good regalia.
Thank you.
Are you a chief? Are you a chief?
I'm from a royal family.
Okay, you are from a royal
besides
family.
that, I speak for import and export.
Yes,
so
I
those
understand.
who want to buy Ghana product is here live.
rightly represented. And a man I know so well, we all went to school together. And he's my junior though, but now we're all adults. So he's carved a niche for himself as a security person, speaks on all matters as well. Emmanuel Kotin, he's here.
I've been hearing of him.
Mr. Kotin.
Bobo.
Yeah, how are you, Bobo?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good to see you once again.
Thank you.
And then I also have here Charles Kusiapia, who is with the Ghana Union of Traders Association. He heads their Bureau for Business and Economy. Thank you for joining us, Charles.
My pleasure, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Your thing you're wearing, is it made in Ghana? Or
made in Ghana. Made in Ghana.
You brought it from China?
No, made in Ghana.
Made in Ghana.
That is the patent of Ghana.
Yours is the direct patent of Ghana. Joe Jackson, though, is an economist and also the CEO of Dalex Finance, very popular. Took over from Ken Thompson, and so we have Joe Jackson joining us on stream as well. And what we do here is to blend technology as well as mainstream discussions as well. Joe Jackson, good morning to you. Uncle Tenen. Please, you've muted, so if we can have you on mute so that you respond quickly. Joe Jackson.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, Joe Jackson. How are you, Otenen?
I'm very good. Oye, papa.
No, obey. Anyway, so we're here to do some great discussion. So let me also acknowledge for many of you who tend to watch us on our stream, we're grateful. As always, without you, we don't tend to know the aggregation of the numbers we have by way of the views, because it's always important that you share your views when you're watching us on social media or through the discussion platforms, TV3 Ghana. I acknowledge the presence of Frank Nana Kofiamwa. Good morning to you as well. Amma Michaels, good morning. I also see Charles Thompson. Charles Thompson lives in the UK, so he's a regular as well. And then Mani Nimani and the rest of the team. Please share the discussion. Ayerakwa, I also see you as well. Let's have some great discussions this morning. But we will preface that with some insights, please.
Michelle, ne yempenyefo nyinara yeshemu hey. Em say ne dikan ene awerɛhosɛm bi ɛto yɛn atɔrɛnkyɛm bi ɛto yɛn anɔpa yi mmerɛ bi atwa mu sɛ kɔba se yɛfa soja anaasɛ yɛfa police anaa biribi a wobɛhu sɛ ne ayɛ no kokwam wonte hwee wobɛhwɛ a na yɛyi nipa sɛ ɔmonkɔ for training nti aberɛ a yɛbɔ ntoa ansa ne yɛbɛto 2024 abatoɔ no mehyɛ bɔ sɛ yɛba a ɛkɔba sɛ yɛfa soja na police a yɛde bɛto dwa na region biara yɛma yɛmabu no akwanya na ɔmo nso ɔmo etimi abɛpere sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a ɔmbɛnya sɛ adwuma no bi ayɛ ampa nso yɛbie adeɛ a yɛfrɛ no portal nti yɛmabu no pii ɛkɔ saa fidie no so ɛkɔ register nti ɛnnɛ ɛna nkɛwɔ sɛ yɛhyɛ ase na yɛhwɛ ɔmo nwoma ne ɔmo ho sɛnea ɔmo ahoɔden seteɛ ɛne saa nneɛma no nyinaa nti anɔpa yi region biara yɛkyerɛ ɔmo baabi a ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmo hyia na akra akɔyɛ kuropɔn no yɛ sɛ nipa dodo a epie yɛ sɛ ɔmo hwɛ sɛ adwuma no na ɔmo dɔɔso yie na ahoprepre ne adeɛ a ɛhyɛ ase abere a yɛbie gate no sɛ nipa nwura mu no ɛma nipa ne bebree ɛde ahoɔden epia sɛ ɔmo kɔ ɔmo anim etimi nwura mu na awerɛhosɛm ne sɛ ebi ɛhwe ase ɛmeɛ tietia ɔmo so na mene mo kasa yi sɛnea yɛnya ne nteyɛ nipa nsia yɛmabunu ahwere ɔmo nkwa na dumienu bi nso ɛda hospital a ɛkyɛ sɛ ayɛ den nso yɛbɔ mpaeɛ sɛ ɔmo ho bɛtɔ ɔmo na nyame ɛnya awerɛho ama ɔmo enti meka sɛ soja mpanyinfo ama yɛaso ate sɛ yɛmma nsia ɔmo nyinaa ɛyɛ mmabaawa ɔma hwere ɔmo nkwa ɛm sɛ Kumasi ha nso bibi kakra saa siyɛ a ɛkyɛ sɛ nipa baako ɛm sɛ wepra dendenden a ɔda ayaresabea ɔno nso yɛbɔ mpaeɛ sɛ obenya ahoɔden na nyame ɛho no mmɔbɔ enti nkrandeɛ no meka kyerɛ asogyafoɔ sɛ ɔmo ngyae ansa na yɛnhwɛm na yɛyɛ nhyehyɛ foforɔ sɛ ne bɛyɛ a ne esi no nsi saa biom enti makasa no mɛsrɛ na obiara pagya ne mu sima baako pɛ na yɛde akae yɛnnuamaa a ɛkyerɛ sɛ ɛnɛ ɔmo ayɛ nyame deɛ.
And the specific event where the president was speaking was in the Ashanti region, where there was the launch of the Nkuko Nkete policy or program, so to speak. And it was supposed to have been a joyous moment. Then he heard the news of the incident, the stampede, subsequently the reports of the deaths. You know, the media had shuffled between two numbers, 6 and 12. But we got the confirmation ultimately that 6 people had died following that stampede. A number also had been admitted as well. Others were in critical condition. And so the president at that event of the launch of the Nkuko Nkete program was just telling the participants that this incident had happened in Accra, but also had prefaced it to premises on the fact that a number of incidents had been cited where recruitment had been made over the last couple of years and public announcements hadn't been communicated to the public for them to apply. And so this was extended en masse across all regions. And so was telling them the numbers that had passed on, but also those that had been injured, expressing his sympathies and commiserations. Subsequently also stating that there were some reported incidents, not of fatalities, but also even in Kumasi or Ashanti region where he he was making the announcement from. And so basically, that's it. Okay, so, but since then, let me start with Joe Jackson. I'll end with Kutin. Kutin is the security expert on the panel, so I'll take him last. But Joe Jackson, what do you make of the incident in itself? It speaks volumes about mass unemployment we have in Ghana, is that not it? I mean, on a day like this, we're looking at the budget, etc. I mean, straight away, that should be the talking point too, apart from the lapses in security and perhaps unstructured organization.
Listen, it's a sad day. So, I'll start by reminding all of us that the State Statistical Service told us that 32, and I repeat 32%, of all who want a job between the ages of 15 and 35 are unemployed. 32% of our JSS leavers, our SHS leavers, and our university students, and we could go on and on. This incident speaks of the desperation of our youth to get jobs. Our nephews, our nieces, our sons, our daughters, our sisters, our brothers, they are so desperate to get jobs. And it's that desperation that has led to their death. At this moment, you can only feel sad for us, sad for the families. Can you imagine what it would take to be a mother to hear this morning that your daughter, yesterday, that your daughter left home to go and apply to be an army officer? And then by the close of day, you get notice that she is gone. I mean, that's terrible. And straight away, on a day like this, it just speaks to the heart of this issue of job creation. It speaks to the heart of the issue of what do we do as a nation to start to provide jobs for that 32% that the government statistician told us about. It's a tough one. It's a sad one. It's, when I heard the news yesterday, on a very personal note, the first thing I did was to start calling those I know in church who had asked me, reached out to me to say, do you have a connection for the military recruitment? I said, I don't. I really don't have any connection. I don't know anyone, and I can't help. So I started reaching out to them to say, are you okay? Listen, it's terrible. And if there's anything that must be addressed in this budget, we must see a clear plan for creating jobs. And here I might say that let's not go the route of government creating jobs. Government will pretend to employ, our youth will pretend to work, and we will all be worse off. Let's start looking at how do we get the SMEs, the small businesses, how do we get them to create their jobs? 2 here, 3 here, 15 there. How do we get them to create those jobs? Because at the heart of this country is that 32% unemployment rate between people who are aged 15 to 35. I end my opening remarks here.
Right. And Charles, I mean, you're a private sector person, so and I know that for people like you don't dream of going to seek employment. You rather employ. So when you were watching the scenes yesterday, what was going through your mind? And especially now that we all know that fatalities have been recorded.
Right. Good morning to you and to your viewers. It's so pathetic in our quest for economic relief and career pursuit, someone have to lose their lives. I can't imagine if a family member was part. Very heartbreaking. We shouldn't have gotten here as a country. That also gives an idea how hungry people are to get themselves into economic life by getting jobs. It's also an indication that the state has not taken up its responsibility by creating that enabling environment for the unemployed teenage to be absorbed into the employment brackets. In every country, there are two key agencies that are responsible for employment. That is either the government or the private sector. But when you do analysis, private sector is supposed to be leading in terms of creating that opportunity. But that is also a responsibility government have to create for the private sector to absorb. We've always talked about a situation where you have to empower the private sector by giving tax cuts, by ensuring that there's certain kind of reliefs and support to ensure that they grow. The moment the private sector is growing, there's a need for an expansion. When they're expanding, there's a need for headcount. And that is where we can absorb these people in. If we have failed to support the private sector and the repercussion to see young people who have not committed any crime, whose desire was to serve this country, to live like this, so pathetic. And I wish we couldn't have gotten there. I know they set up some committee, which I don't think was necessary to set up any committee. The reason for this is there, poor people management. You know there are people who will be entering into some secured small route into a bigger environment. And expectation was that people will be rushing to ensure that they are safe first. So they probably could have put in some proper queue management. That maybe the first 100 people form a queue, or you'll be given ticketing that your ticket will be mentioned before you to enter into safe spaces for you to be served. That was not done. Why do we need a committee to investigate this? People's responsibility was to ensure lives were protected, and the renege on it must be held responsible. There's no need to waste time on committees. And that should be a signal to any state actor or any person that have given a responsibility to serve your country that you cannot take people for granted. Just like when you're going for visas, how the embassies treat us. This is the same way our state is treating us. Are we slaves in our own country? This is very unpathetic, and I don't think we should encourage that in any form of employment.
Well, certainly. We take a look at the comments about perhaps creating private sector jobs other than reliance on the ones created by the public or dependent on the public's purse. At the end of the day, it has to be more intentional than the way we are now. How should that be done?
All right, thank you very much. Let me first of all say that when issues of this nature happen, we need to identify the root cause of the problem. Now, we are only talking about what actually happened yesterday, where over thousands of people gathered at the LWAC Sports Stadium for the recruitment. Now, you will recall that we have had excess number of students from the free SHS in the system. Now, the requirement for the entry into the security services are not stringent like that of the universities and the academic institutions. And so those who are not able to make the needed grade to go to the university, they may prefer to go to, these security services. Now, the chunk of people who they were recruiting or they were supposed to be taking care of yesterday were SHS graduates. That tells you that the free SHS that we have rolled out in the past, there is so much number in the system that every year, when these opportunities come, they want to take advantage of it. Which also means that when the program was rolled out, the end objective was not well thought through, because there is no need sending people to school. Then at the end of the day, they'll finish school and be home unemployed. So I personally think that the excess number of students that we churn out from the senior high schools as a result of the free SHS is a contributory factor to what we witnessed yesterday. Again, what also happened yesterday clearly shows that policy decisions, economic policy decisions, must be made based on data. Just as you rightly said, government alone cannot create jobs to employ everybody that finished school in this country. And so the chunk of the employment must be done by the private sector. However, the government is only the enabler, creating the proper environment for the private sector to flourish. And so I think that going forward, in order to avert this issue of unemployment in Ghana, our policy makers should make policy decisions based on well-informed economic and financial data. Reason why, for this year's budget, what we are looking at is that the economy has enjoyed stability for some time now. And what we want to see is that the policies and programs that government will implement should be tailored towards growth. Not only growth, in numbers, but growth that will actually translate into decent quality and sustainable jobs for the youth of this country. Now, what also happened issue is also a national security issue. It's a threat. Because if all those people should mass on the street that they are looking for jobs, they are frustrated, then the story will become different. And reason why leadership is key. And I believe that we have seen that leadership since the beginning of this year. And I think that the focus must not just be on, white-collar jobs. I wake up in the morning, I wear my tie and coat, drive to work and work in an office. I think the focus must also be about creating entrepreneurs. If you look at the nature of our economy is predominantly dominated by SMEs. And so some of these Akukon Kitinkiti program, I think we should target youth more so that they can be self-reliant, so that we can try to avoid some of these incidents that we witnessed yesterday. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Wongobet.
Well, Roland, thank you very much. I think yesterday was a very sad day. I used to hear Black Wednesday, but I can tell you clearly that yesterday was a Black Wednesday to me in person. And first and foremost, I must also comment the President, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. You could see from his address at the Nkoko Kitikiti opening yesterday, he spoke in the sober manner. That shows that what happened yesterday really touched his heart, that the youth of today are looking for a job, a serious job to do. Then he has to rush back to Accra quickly and he paid a visit at the, the 37 military hospital to see the victims. I must say that I'm not going to depart from where my colleagues have spoken. I strongly believe that the military high command have actually failed us as Ghanaians in terms of their recruitment arrangement, knowing that this was done on digital, is that not it? Those who applied or were done via internet. And online, so you have the numbers and you have segregated that these are the senior high students first. And indeed, you know the numbers that were going to come. Then you know that you have Air Force, Navy, and Army. So Independence Square is there. It's an open environment. Because look at the numbers. What do you call it?
LWAC 2 is there.
LWAC is there. Kaukuri.
Sports Stadium.
That's why I say stadium is there. Okay, so stadium is there. Independence Square is there. LWAC is there. Kaukuri is there. You
or even Legon. The Legon.
Yeah. Exactly. Sure. So you segregate. Those who want to go to Air Force, go here. Those who want to go to Army, come here. Those who want to go to Navy, come here. And you know, or
you make it sound so simple.
Yes, no, but you know, they have it in the system. All those who applied have indicated area I want to go, of my interest. Either I want to be the Army, I want to be the Air Force, I want to belong to the Navy. So they have this, they have it. The HR department, I'm talking, if they're talking of recruitment, the HR department should be on top of their issues. And so I know they have the Director General in charge of human resource at the general headquarters there. So they should have looked at the numbers and then segregate it. Sophistication alone. I think later when we show it, I saw that they now brought canopies into the place. And that was, I think, afterthought. So I think that's quite clear they couldn't manage things very well. And if we were to be other areas, some general would have resigned. Because
you mean if it was Japan, China,
some would have resigned.
The US or something.
People would have resigned for
but not Ghana.
Ghana, but we are also equally human beings. We are going to sit in the same class with these people who will say, look, because of what I've done, I will honorably resign from my position. But we are in Ghana, as you said, rightly said. I must also state that we need to look for jobs, as he said. And I think that the Nkokoi Kitikiti, I said it somewhere that looking for employment today or in terms of doing farming is not because you were done ahead. You know, during our time, they think that if you go into farming, then you couldn't make it to school. But I can tell you, even the president of himself, the sitting president, I'm talking about, he has a huge farm that he's producing both maize and he's producing rice. You remember the last time he said his bigger customer is at Asochari. Is that not it? Have I pronounced?
Very beautiful, well-organized farm.
So that is where globally, I get return from Cambodia, where we had the people from Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, and Malaysia, India. They are big rice farmers, big rice millers. We all gather in Cambodia on the 6th till on the 9th of this month for conference. And I told them that, look, if you are looking for a place to go, the economy that is growing and stability is gotta come. Come and set up your rice mills, your rice mills here, right away to Aveheme, right away to Asochari, going to Yakaba Kobori in the northeast there, go to Via Dams in the Upper East region there, so that we produce. Remember, just 2 days ago, people are crying in Upper West that they farm rice and maize, they're looking for buyers. Is that not it? Yeah. So we need people to come. Let's build shallows, or what do you call them? Shallows, yes. So that we will do storage. Because, Roland, the rice we are eating here is rice that has been stored for years or months, not just 3 months ago harvest that we are enjoying here. So this is why we are talking. So that these people, they will encourage, and I'm happy that the Minister of Education, or the Minister of Agri, is talking about this time around, if you are going to do National Award Farmers Day, they would award even preschools, primary schools, junior high schools, and senior high schools, the best schools that have come into agriculture, so that we can inculcate this into, so that our people know that, as he said, not everybody that comes out from school should say, I want white collar job. Because some officers that they will even tell that, I'm sure even right away in your house here, they will tell us that the numbers are huge that they can't even handle and they can't even take more numbers. So we can go. What is the next line? The biggest employment area is agriculture. We can go. We should target. We shouldn't just go and give to only the old ladies, the old men, but let's also target the young, catch the young, and let them go develop the talent, go the interest into agriculture. Let them understand there's off-takers. Whilst if you are producing and there will be an off-taker, then you have no, you won't run to the cities looking for a job, or you won't run going to Galamsey and other things, which is illegal, isn't it? And so what we saw yesterday tells you that the people are hungry, they are yearning, they don't want to sit at home. They get 3 S's. They say they want to work. So it's not only military, it's not only police, but I think police, immigration, and fire service and prison service recruitment is also coming. This should be election. This should be election. It is unfortunate that these our young girls pass away, made their untimely death yesterday. I've heard that one MP said that is what there's nothing can be done. I said no. A mother shouldn't speak like that. You should empathy. You should be empathy with the family. You should console the family. You should pray with the family. As somebody said, these family need psychologists to talk to them. Because my daughter is going to look for a job. Then the next minute, there's a call. What happened? Your daughter is gone. Hey, the investment alone, even the free education that we talk about, my daughter is in school. My son was in school. We still give them money, even though it was free. But if they tell you that the amount of money that was spent to take care of our children in school, it wasn't easy. So I think that people have lost their life. Because if you are a mother, if you are a father, if you are a single parent, if you are somebody who has only one child in this world, and this is the end of your child, I strongly believe that this is a huge problem. And going forward, the military, and I'm told the act to suspend, going forward, they should do the needful by making sure they segregate it and do not let everybody come crowded, and then we'll have this stampede in the near future again.
Mr. Kutin, as for you, you speak on the strategy side of the security in terms of intake, the right sort of human resource categories, etc. And Beatrice, Edu and I this morning were making allusions to what happens in the US or the other developed countries. They are diminutive these days. They don't use the physical features to do recruitment. Technology has become the bane of fighting wars and then defending countries and territories. So what's the best practice? What should our military recruiters be taken away that should inform policy, the way they formulate it and implement it?
Well, Bobo, thank you for having me, and very good morning to my co-panelists and to our cherished listeners. In fact, we have long warned that youth unemployment was a national security threat to our democracy. And yesterday was a testament of what we have always spoken about. In terms of strategy, like you rightly asked, there were some critical gaps. And to me, I think the military didn't anticipate the sheer volumes, even though they know the numbers that they had under their belt. So the critical gaps were more or less crowd control, infrastructure, and management. So if you look at what has always happened in the last 8 years, you realize we've not had public recruitment like we have seen. We always saw people passing out from our security agencies, and we didn't even know how they were recruited. So when this government came and decided that they were going to conduct a public recruitment, I think the military should have anticipated this kind of challenges. So they slept on their jaws practically. In other jurisdictions, I use my own daughter as an example. When she finished high school in the US, at her graduation, that she was recruited to the Air Force.
You mean they came there soliciting?
They came there soliciting. And it was so beautiful. They would ask, those who want to join the Air Force, can you please stand up? Those who want to join the Army, can you please stand up? The Navy SEAL. And there were officers there who gave them all the military honors. Why? They are coming to serve their country at the peril of their lives. Going into this kind of recruitment is not essentially for jobs. No.
Now what
it's a risk you are taking.
By in our part of the world,
the country.
By in our part of the world,
yes.
So it's a demand supply situation.
Exactly.
Okay. So there they fight many wars.
Yes.
And then they also have it as a policy by way of their defense policy.
Yes.
To have the numbers. So
yes.
they even have some for the reserves.
Yes.
So that when there's the need for a country like the US
yes, yeah.
to undertake, as you people say it in your military colleges and universities, interventions.
Yeah.
If they have to undertake any intervention in any part of the globe,
yeah.
then they know that they have the personnel there to be able to deploy.
Precisely.
We don't have the budget.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the demand for it, so to speak.
Yes.
Even though the supply is that much.
So, this is why we have to be intentional as a sovereign country.
Okay.
I always say security is very expensive. We draw best practices from other countries. Is that not the case?
That's true.
Why should our own be different? And with the story I was even telling you.
So let's say University of Ghana graduation, then the military will come.
Exactly.
Who is interested?
Exactly. And you know why?
The whole year group will go.
No, because there is an underlying problem. The underlying problem is that there are no opportunities elsewhere.
Exactly.
That's why everybody's rushing there. If there were opportunities, like in the enabling environment that has been created in the case of the US I'm talking about, there were very few people who stood up. That was why they don't
even want to join.
They don't even want to join.
Roland,
and guess what, Roland? The government is paying.
They do that. What he's talking about, the banks do that.
Yeah, but they take...
They take you through a process. Those who qualify, obviously, will be uptaken to the banks. So they could, just like he's describing, they could adapt that. It's not beyond our reach.
Okay, so that they reduce the The numbers that will come for the general recruitment.
If you say that you
all right. Okay, not to stampede him. Please. Yesterday was a stampede. I don't want it. Please continue.
And guess what, Roland? They are even paying their school fees for them because they are incentivizing.
In the US?
Yes.
Once they identify you, they will pay the rest of your school
fees and still give you money.
US.
So they are incentivizing you to come and serve your country. And you know, in the past, that is how it used to be in Ghana.
Yes, you live
but because we have failed in our policies to generate the kind of jobs that our teeming youth are yearning for. Look, if you look at the statistics, 60% of us are the youth. But because of politics...
I think 70%. According to the population and housing census, 70-75%.
Yes, but...
are young people now.
Yeah, okay. That is the projected. But in the last, I will go with the last because it is being projected. You know, in statistics, it could be there or there. You understand? Yes. So, you see, because we have politicized everything in this country, our policies don't go beyond presidential terms. Our policies don't go beyond...
They are not continuous.
They are not continuous. Yeah. You see, our National Development Policy, Planning Commission.
NDP.
What has happened to that commission? So it is about time as a country we begin to be intentional with our policies and remove the nuances of politics and set up deliberate policies that will create jobs for our youth beyond presidential terms. In other countries, that is how it is done.
But there's NAPCO, there's...
NAPCO is also... But you are talking about NAPCO. We are talking about very good jobs.
Sustainable.
Sustainable jobs. We are not talking about this kind of jobs that is hand to mouth. Sometimes it cannot even do anything to you. And that brings me to the area of enabling our private sector to give jobs to our youth. What we often do is to give free zones and other facilities to the foreigners. And then repatriate this profit abroad. We don't help our local businesses. And that is the challenge. And look, you mentioned about the free senior high school thing. It's a good thing. Because if you look at every country that is successful in its developmental agenda, it's about the rate of education. What we have failed to do as a country is to look at our educational curriculum. Look at the Singapore and whatever we are seeing. It's not about the book. It's about the practical skills. Look, we are in the technological world. Countries that are making it are those who saw this long time ago and changed their educational curriculum. But look at us. We are still going by our colonial stuff. And not to digress, as a security analyst, yesterday, what I witnessed with some politicians trying to make certain comments about these things, it shows how polarized we are as a country. The earlier we begin to depoliticize and put our country first, this thing could be any of us. And yesterday, Roland, if you looked at the videos, some of the recruits were climbing walls.
Whilst the gates were closed.
So there was some lapses somewhere. And secondly, look at how disciplined the military is. And you are taking this kind of indiscipline to join the army. And parents even went at dawn to queue for their children. And Roland, just imagine you are queuing at 12 midnight. To the next day you have not eaten. What do you expect? You fall.
You can collapse.
And there's another thing I witnessed yesterday. When colleagues were falling down, because of the greed and competitive nature of the Ghanaian youth today, they were looking at the persons of giving help to the person, saying that, she's dying, what of and you want to join the army. So to me, suspending the recruitment process in Accra alone doesn't go far enough. They should suspend the entire process And you spoke about technology. We have the NIA, is that not it? When we were all given those cards, they measure our heights. Is that not the case? So these people also apply through the electronic system. At least you got the numbers. So you should have gone to the next stage of the height by collaborating with the National Health Insurance Scheme to get the heights you want before you invite those people for the physical screening exam. For the physical, it's done everywhere.
But they use the NIA data to do the cutoff. It's in the system. If you
so
go to the dashboard.
The height? These people were supposed to come for body screening, is that not it? And the height and other things.
They use that to screen as well.
Exactly.
So there's the height, the qualification, and all that to disqualify you, to see.
You know that in past recruitment, you meet some people in uniform and you ask yourself, how did they even get there? So this thing should have even reduced the numbers to some level. Just imagine 4,000 slots, Roland. Accra alone.
60,000.
No, I mean the slot they were taking.
The whole country.
The whole country. The Ghana Armed Forces could only take 4,000.
And 60,000 applied.
Countrywide.
And 30,000 qualified.
That is a serious issue on our hands, and we must be intentional with our job creation. So there must be responsibility. I must lie.
You mean people must resign?
Of course. Look.
Hey, General.
Look, let me tell you something. I saw some fake letter Bridget Jeffy has resigned. Look, Bridget Jeffy had no reason to resign. I'll tell you why. Bridget Jeffy, as the Deputy Minister of Defense, superintends over policy issues, not administrative issues. Administrative issues come on the head of the CDS. That's why I wasn't happy the military putting in place their own to investigate itself. It should have been a national self-defense because this is a national tragedy. And in my research, this thing has never happened, even though we have had issues of stampede at recruitment. We've never recorded this level of fatalities.
So the committee should have been composed of
independents.
Or it shouldn't have been instigated by the military.
At all. They can't investigate themselves. No, they can't do that.
All right. And so, well, I think it's important that we also do the introduction. We've been also joined by the Sagnarigu Member of Parliament. The Sagnarigu Member of Parliament is Isa Atta. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And the Finance Minister will be in Parliament. Yesterday, we had the poultry program introduced, Nkoko Nkete program, as the campaign balance came out. And so it's been christened that way. But at the end of the day, you look at what has been done over the last 9 months. We have expenditure rationalized, so to speak. And so we've had all the indicators quite stable and good for us. On the international front, it looks like in the market, we seem to have been well received by way of good reviews. What really do you think are the main challenges that need to be addressed in this budget?
Good morning once again, and to my senior colleagues here. I thought I should have been given some 1 or 2 minutes to also...
okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I will say is that I want to use this medium to join calls by my colleagues and well-meaning Ghanaians in expressing my deepest sympathy to the bereaved and to the injured and their families. Yesterday was a very sad day for us as a country. And recently, the Minister for Defense lost his life in such a tragic incident, and the nation was taken aback on the 6th of August. So I wasn't expecting something like this within the ambit of the military or the defense ministry. However, it has happened. And I think that this must serve as a lesson. Often the problem of our governance is that we always wait for an incident to happen, that we come and express these views and then run back to hiding until the next casualties again. I will agree with people who feels like the Ghana Armed Forces has betrayed the trust of Ghanaians relative to this exercise that took place yesterday across the 16 regions. And my reasons are very simple. I want to even understand what type of public needs, health needs assessment that was done at the various centers. You expect over 5,000 to 6,000 people to assemble at LWAC.
21,000.
21,000. It is not done anywhere. And I still don't understand why, as part of the body selection, they do what we call presentation of documentation, and then they will now do some basic medical issues before they will even let you do those physical ones. How come we still are not able to do the mandatory medical clearance systems online? In fact, in advanced democracies, what they usually do is that the on-site physical inspection, it is even at a later stage. Once you cross that, then it means that there's a sure way that you'll be recruited. Yet, we are still relying heavily on this physical presence and manual recruitment processes. To that end, I think that there was a problem. Then the second issue, I agree with my colleagues once again, is that this only exposes the reality of unemployment. Because as members of parliament, I can tell you the number of people that throw to our houses with the summary applications. No, not the CVs. I'm talking about the military. You know, when you apply online, they will give you a summary.
Okay. How many people did you send?
Not me sending, those who brought to me. I can tell you, Sanaro constituency alone, we had more than 1,000 people applying for
Interested?
Yes, interested. And some.
So how many did you send, Mr. Atta?
Sent to where? So if you look at it, it only exposes the reality that we need to do something about the unemployment situation in our country. And I want to use this opportunity once again to thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And it's for the swift way he handled the matter. Having a national assignment and something like this happened, he had to cut short the program and then join the families of the bereaved and the injured. So, and thank the workers at 37. But I still see that there was some lack of medical setups at the training centers, even in Tamale Sports Stadium. It was hard to even find ambulance on site, medical setups and tents. All this, you are assembling thousands of people. Natural medicine will tell you that there can be some level of exposure to health conditions. Even if there is no stampede, people can transfer diseases to each other just by association at the venue. So to that end, I think that moving forward, we must prioritize some of these health concerns that best practice across the world they do in periods of recruitment. Finally, our crowd control tool was wrong. I think that the military, one of their military police and all those, they steady crowd control. Look, in some centers, you allow people to stand at the gate by 6:30 a.m. Then you open and you expect that huge number of people to just enter the place at the same time. Yeah. That is wrong. That's not proper crowd control. So, please, it is within the right of people to criticize the system and call for reforms. For me, I think that phase recruitment is the way forward. Why do we wait every year, assemble once, and do 3,000 recruitment? It should be phased. In fact, it could have even been done by regional level. President Mahama promised us in 2024 to do recruitment at the districts and the regional level. That was the problem. And in fact, if you look at even the recruitments, now every district, at the end of the recruitment process, every district, a constituency will have a soldier from that constituency.
That's supposed to be the idea.
That's supposed to be the idea. In fact, in the past, you see that there was some level of over-concentration of those people in the centers, in the regional capitals. Now we are decentralizing the process to the grassroots. And so for me, I think that the inquiry that has been set up is not enough, like my brother said. However, yesterday, the Speaker of Parliament directed that the Health and Defense and Interior Committee should liaise with the committee established by the Ghana Armed Forces to bring finality to the matter. That is my view on it. Now, coming to...
I think the committee should not even be allowed to start its work. It will be a complete...
They have to be reconstituted?
Yes, they have to be reconstituted.
Okay. No, well...
Please, the budget.
Yes.
Or you speak for the president now?
Which?
Because you wanted to rebut that.
No,
That's his
not to
position.
rebut. I
That's
just
his
wanted to say that the Committee of Parliament is supposed to work in conjunction with the established committee of the Ghana Armed Forces. So to that, and I think that there's enough system to check the work of that committee. And for me, if the HESMA's role, I don't have problem with that because it is just for the betterment of our process. Now, coming to the budget that will be read today, I think I feel satisfied as a Ghanaian. If you look at the approval ratings for the 2025 budget, for example, it was exceptionally high, one of the highest in 16 years. Approval ratings by Ghanaians for the 2025 budget. Now, having read the 2025 budget in 2025, the expectation was that we see to ease fullest execution of the budget. Now, if you look at the performance of the budget that will be read today, you see that 2025 budget has delivered close to 89% of our targets or the promises that was contained in the budget of 2025. Now, moving into 2026, I will divide my submission into various subheadings just for purposes of clarity. If you look at individuals and households, this budget will consolidate the improvement that we are seeing in terms of relief that is intended to reduce cost of living pressures. So this Nkokon Kitinkiti apprenticeship program, all those things are expected to continue. And then the strong expectation is that effective VAT rate will reduce from 22 to 20%. And however, if you are not comfortable, or we still think that it's a move in the right direction, even if we want more. Now, job creation will feature at the center of this presentation. We just came from a topic on enlistment into the military. And across the table, when I was coming, I listened to my colleagues. I realized that unemployment virtually appeared in all their submissions as part of the reason why some of these incidents happened. And I think that job creation will feature a lot in the 2026 budget. And in fact, I will say that I feel proud as an MP in 2025 because considering the number of opportunities that we'll be able to give to our people in our various constituencies is fulfilling. Then continuation of the social safety net, increase in school feeding allocation. We are talking about, for the first time, if you look at releases to health insurance, one of the highest in recent history, because now the formula is that once you get it, within 30 days, it must be transferred to national service. Then the cash transfers through the LEAP and other programs will increase in the country for 2026. Service delivery and access to infrastructure. Every constituency will get access to 10 kilometers of asphaltic road in the 2026 budget. And it is even part of what is currently before Parliament. That is the Ghana Road Trust Maintenance Fund that will fund this initiative. Now, stability of the macro levels. We can all see that government had an end-year inflation of about 11.9%. Currently, we are in single digit. Government has already overperformed as compared to the expectations that we... So it has stabilized incomes of people, and also it does not erode savings of the person. Now, coming to industry, I see that there are industry players here, which their concern will be on industry. I feel like the VAT reforms is currently before the Finance Committee of Parliament, and I'm proud to be a member of the Finance Committee. And currently, we are considering it, and I think it to be in the interest of the business community in terms of increasing productive activities. That will even engineer more tax revenue for the government. So tax reforms, then the distortionary tax regimes that is currently in Ghana. We still have tax on some items in Ghana, the cascading effect on the output price that is given to customers. I think that is something that will be featured in the budget. Now, finally, access to credit. If you look at the mid-year review, we talked about, in fact, for the first 2 quarters of the year, foreign capital that came through this country was $792 million. That means that access to credit for the private sector is growing. In fact, you'll be proud to hear that at least growth in the industrial sector, manufacturing and oil and gas is on the rise. that suggests that at least private government is not crowding out the private sector. Even though we had to through the domestic market, raise treasury bills by about 111.6 billion Ghana cedis treasury bill. Really, I cannot finish my submission without some structural reforms that has happened in this country. And for example, in April this year, government will announce through the budget that we will exit the IMF program, which is good because this year was on expenditure rationalization and then improve revenue collection. Next year, we are now trying to usher in more industrial investments that will engineer growth. Then the ICT program, fintech programs that is intended to make us ease of doing business more cheaper and make it more efficient. And so COVID levy is expected to go today. Once it is announced, we'll take processes of repealing it, which will mean that we have kept our campaign promise. So I will leave it for now. I had more to say, but because of time. And the good news for me is that the 2025 budget vindicates what Ghanaians should expect for 2026. Because if the execution was not good, then there would have been a cause for you to worry.
Right.
But I can assure them that today there will be good news and less taxes.
Joe Jackson, and because you play in the space, why is it that when it comes to the actuals, we haven't seen market players? Okay. Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson. Okay, let me come to you. Why is that we haven't seen, for those of you who are the market players, whether you find yourself within the tier of the financial system, we don't tend to have the confidence from you to create the needed or take the risk so that your rates will be commensurate to perhaps the various indicators that tend to influence borrowing, so to speak, so that we could have access to the credit more.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that expansion of credit to the private sector is key in the development of every country, which also presupposes that when you have a financial sector where the rates are too high, it stifles growth because businesses cannot go to the bank and borrow in order to expand their operation, and that will eventually culminate into growth. Now, the determination of a lending rate is based on several factors. One of those factors is the monetary policy rates of the Bank of Ghana. And beginning of the year, we have seen a monetary policy rate that was around 27-28%. And through what I would call efficient monetary policies that Bank of Ghana did during the year, we have seen that the monetary policy rate has reduced to about 21.5%. And as industry players, we are still calling for a further reduction in the monetary policy rate because that will also factor into lending rate. Then another factor that goes into the computation of lending rate is what you call the Ghana reference rate. The Ghana reference rate is the benchmark rate that the banks use and is determined by the Ghana Association of Banks, that the banks use and on which they add their risk premium in determining the lending rate. And the last factor that is also taken into consideration when computing the interest or the lending rate is the treasury bill rate. Now, you realize that since December 2024, leading to January 2025, the 91-day treasury bill was hovering around 28%. But as it stands now, the 91-day treasury bill, which is factored into the computation of the computation, is around 10, a little below 11%. Now, these are
in some of the institutions, it's even lower. It's even under 10.
Good. So these are the factors that comes together in determining how banks in determining the Ghana reference rate, which is the benchmark rate that the banks use in pricing their loan portfolio. Now, the issue is that these days, when you look at the financials of the banks are doing very well. I mean, in as much as NPLs are very high, around 20%, which is a serious threat to the banking sector. The financial sector, most especially the banks, they are doing very well in terms of their profit. And so you take a financial of a bank, you get to know that the bottom line is well over 200 million, 100 million, 155 million. And so the rates, the interest income that they generate on their loan portfolio is as a result of the rate they charge. And the rates to me are still high. To the extent that the rates are still high, that is going to stifle growth. And so going forward, I think once the Ghana reference rate is down, the monetary policy rate is down, we should see the banks going down on their lending rate. In fact, recently, the governor of Bank of Ghana made mention of the fact that banks should be ready to lend a single digit.
10%.
10%. Yeah. Okay. Now, when the banks are lending at 10%, I'm sure when you have a small shop at the roadside, you can go to the bank, take a loan of 100,000 and be looking about 10,000 cedis by the end of the year, and that is sustainable. But currently, the lending rate in Ghana now, the average lending rate in Ghana now hovers around 24 to 25%, and that is too high. What it simply means is that when you go in for about 1 million Ghana cedis, by the end of the year, you should be paying around 250,000 Ghana cedis, and that is too much. So we want further before the banks can also lower the GRR will be lowered. Then of course, now Treasury bill rate is very down. So we expect Bank of Ghana to lower further the 21.5. We at Mebank Capital have projected about some 300 to 350% basis point reduction during the next MPC meeting of Bank of Ghana. Now, inflation has really come down. Inflation has really come down, and so we see no reason why the monetary policy rate should be up there again. And I mean, some of these things, you don't speak them with emotion, but you speak them based on fact and figures and data. But looking at how the economy is doing very well, now I'll use the word very well, because since the beginning of the year, Bank of Ghana has released plethora of directives to banks and financial institutions regarding the FX market. But then I wouldn't want to go there for now. Maybe that will be a subsequent discussion. And so we expect the Bank of Ghana to lower the MPR so that the GRR can come down, and then the banks can also lower their lending rates.
I have to come to you from the Ghana Union of Traders. Okay. Joe Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
I'm here.
Okay. Despite the lending rate at where it is currently, what could give banks confidence to say that there's been some level of sustainability of where the indicators are? And so if the Bank of Ghana should reduce its own rate, by extension, the commercial banks and those in the tier could also follow suit.
Listen, at this moment, the key thing is that the MPC is still high, and the Ghana reference rate is still high. And if you look at it, banks and financial institutions, those are the benchmarks they use to lend. If you drive those rates down, then they will natural competition will drive the rates down to lower levels. Remember also that the lending rate is a reflection of the NPLs also, the non-performing loans, the loans that are in default, the loans that people have not paid back. So really, rates must come down. And what will make the rates come down is the continued fiscal discipline that is being established. And by fiscal discipline, I mean the government has to look at continuing the practice of not spending as much as it could, not borrowing as much as it could, and keeping discipline where its finances are concerned, making sure that it maintains a primary surplus, if not at worst a primary balance, then and keeping its budget deficit, that is the amount of borrowing that he has to undertake to support its budget at a low rate. Those are things that must happen. And for those things to happen, this government must look at returning to the local bond market and even to the FX foreign bond markets.
Why?
And so this year, because when you borrow locally, when the government continues to borrow locally from the then it is still driving, rates are still high. When you borrow from outside, that borrowing does not affect the local rate and can keep local rates low. And that is why we continue to say, maybe given the discipline that has been shown so far, it is time to return to the foreign markets. Cautiously, but it must be done.
Mm.
And this is a real. These are a real issue.
Okay, so you say perhaps we should take a look at having a re-entry into the local bond market, and
even the foreign bond market.
Okay. But you know, if I do, and before I came here, I did some cursory look at some literature and some review of what the indicators are for some African countries. Apart from Senegal, which consistently loves playing with the Bretton Woods institutions, and as a result of that, that has reflected in the way it rationalizes its expenditure nationally. We don't seem to do too well as a country. Immediately we leave the IMF and the pact we have with them, because the supposition is that once where we are with the IMF, we are put in check. Now, if let's say we leave the IMF, maybe predictably, the next budgetary year, so to speak, or we are able to, in conformity, say that we want to complete that program, and so we want to be independent on our own for that short time, how could that play out in relation to how the key sectors of the economy have performed and how we've kept monetary and fiscal policy together so far?
Okay, now, it's very simple. We know what to do. We know we have to keep disciplined. We know we have to spend within our means and borrow responsibly. And when we borrow, it must be for growth-oriented investment in infrastructure. If we leave the IMF and we continue go back to the bad old days, I'll show you there will be surely as night follows day, there will be an 18th intervention following the 17 we have done so far. So the question is very simple. Can we maintain the discipline that is required? Do we always need a big stick behind us from the IMF? That is a question only the politicians can answer. Because they control the public purse. And if we return to the bad old behavior after we exit the IMF, then the same thing will happen. I tell you, I'm not worried about 2026 that much, because we'll still be under the program. It is post-2026, when we leave the program, that Ghanaians should start getting worried. Will we return to the bad old days of the past? Will we borrow as if there's nothing else inside to be looked at? Will we borrow and consume like we did? We borrowed and consumed on all manner of operations, including programs, including free SHS, training allowances, and so on and so forth, and projects that did not deliver any value at all. It's up to us.
Okay. All right.
I'll be honest with you, I don't have sleepless nights over the 2026 budget, simply because we are still under the IMF program. The big stick is still behind us. It is post-2026 that we should see what will happen.
Okay. And for you, Aguta, that also means that the time is good. The dollar has been relatively stable. Okay. Okay. And so we haven't seen you complain much, like in the past.
Yes.
Even though you chip in once in a while at the end of the day
it's not like we like complaining. We have to raise attention to issues that are affecting
so let me, I haven't heard you raise attention. If that substitutes as a synonym is fine for you. But at the end of the day, your kind, your group, you have the appetite for always going for imported goods. And you don't want to be suffering on the operational side by way of the expenditure if you have to do anything locally. What will incentivize you to say you want to look inward? Let's say if it's for tin tomatoes or something else, you would want to perhaps stretch your limits and say you would want to pool your resources or go to your partners and do local.
Right,
as a balance by way of the substitution.
But before I answer your question, yes, it's good for the government to borrow. But where is borrowing is very critical. If we encourage the government to borrow from the foreign market, which is indexed in either dollar, euro, pounds, and we are not lucky and we see forest highs, that will expose us to credit risks. And that will mean that government needs more revenue to meet up with repayment. And when it comes to revenue generation, his first course of action is on businesses. And he does so by increasing taxes. The moment you increase taxes to meet up your repayment with your foreign loans, that will mean that cost of production will go high. And when cost of production is going high, it's going to affect inflation. When inflation is going high, Bank of Ghana will come and say, I want to control inflation. Then he increase policy rates. That will increase our cost of borrowing again. So we get back to that old cycle. And that has been the bane why businesses are not growing. So what we want to say is very basic. We are key stakeholders in terms of economic development of a country. When it comes to capital investment, capital expenditure, government should be looking at the private sector, where we can do build, operate, and transfer. So you don't always need to go and borrow. In that way, you are reducing your loans to GDP. In that way, you are not overburdening businesses. That way, you are encouraging Ghanaians to invest in our own country. As I tell you, people have ideal funds lying there. They know where to put their investment. They are not ready to invest in T-bills.
Because the risks too bad.
Exactly. So the option they have probably is to go to Dubai and buy properties. But we have roads that we need to build in our country. Why don't we call in these private sectors and say, okay, like the Kenyans are doing, we can develop this express road, BOT, 10, 50 years, do it. In that way, we are investing our money here. In that way, we are growing our economy. In that way, we will not be talking about repatriation of dividends and earnings, which I know by February, March is going to be a scare on our faces.
April, May.
Yes, exactly.
It always happens, it's a cycle.
So we got to find a solution to it. And that is why you have to empower your local businesses to ensure that they build the kind of economy you are looking for. FDIs are good, but they must have local content. There must be some level of policy that will control repatriation, like retention policy, that you don't need to do 100% repatriation. You can do it 50-50, because when you come, you enjoy some tax exemptions, get a lot of support from the country. So why do you then repatriate your earnings out? These are some of the things that we look into. All right, so back to your question. These are some of the factors that affect local businesses getting into manufacturing. We've been talking about agriculture. Do you know what is happening to those in agriculture? There's a glut. There are excess production. They don't have market for it. Probably some of them might have contracted debt financing from a bank. Now people are not buying.
Now you people go and bring the rice that competes with them.
No,
and your rice
it's
is
the
cheap.
conditions that have to be set right. There must be some support. There must be some deliberate government policy. Like currently what is happening, government could probably say that, okay, let me know the cost every farmer is incurring now. I'm ready to absorb that cost, all right? So you reinvest that money into farming. Next year, If you don't take care, people will not be farming. Because there's a lot of costs they have incurred this year. So what we can be doing now, like those into rice farming, government can decide every district, I want to put up rice and milling factory. So that when you have your paddies, bring it to me, I will mill it, there's a market for you. Until that is done, it becomes so much disincentive for me or a business person who have been enjoying simple business by sending money, bring goods, and there's a market for it. So we need to ensure some of these things are done. And you look at tariffs. If you enter into manufacturing, the kind of bills you'll be paying is unheard of. It's so discouraging, so disheartening. And you know, when you're doing business in Ghana and you're so much identified, you become a target of the tax master.
I don't understand.
I'm telling you
if you're
this.
more pronounced.
Well,
exactly.
If you're well-branded. When you're identified.
If you're well-branded, exactly. You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. It is only in Ghana that when you are a business and you want to do something right, you are tagged as a criminal or a target for revenue sacking. So it becomes much more difficult for you to enter into mainstream production. But that could have been a way that we can grow our country.
So rather the revenue authority, they are milking you.
Of course, because you're identified.
Instead of helping
supporting you. Instead of them appreciating the dynamics in your businesses, the challenges that you are going through, and probably provide some solutions for you to stay alive in business. For them, it is the revenue they are looking for. At cost, at collapse, they don't care.
But Mr. Wungobit, at the end of the day, whoever is trading, whether the person is an importer or let's say it's a wholesaler, whether they will source the goods locally or elsewhere, internationally, so to speak, we'll have to look at the numbers and the options that are meaningful, those that affect the bottom line, so to speak, as the financial people will always say, what affects the bottom line. And if I'm going to get a stock locally, and the cost of that stock, and the rate at which I'm going to sell that stock, compared to how pricing could affect an international or imported one, then I have to make the rational decision, is that not? Is that what tends to affect your members as well? And so they make the decisions that they make, that instead of trying to go local, I have to go international and bring the goods for consumers.
Well, thank you very much. I don't want to believe that you want to be part of those who are saying that Ghanaians like importing. But
yes, we do. To be blunt.
To look at it. So you have to be, I want to convert you tonight and this morning so that all of us will go all out there to be advocates for good ambassadors. I just told you in my opening remarks that I, Samson Asake, Executive Secretary for Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, was away for some few days a week ago in Cambodia. And what was it? It was about Well-Rise International Trade Conference. And I made it clear, if you go on City Online, Joy, and TV3 News, you will see that when I had the opportunity to address this well-meaning rice producers, Vietnamese and others, I told them that the best place to do is Africa. And for that matter, Ghana is the best place for them to come and set up their rice milling so that we can, as we are producing rice now, that is the focus of the government, today's government, President Mahama. And that is why the Minister of Trade and Industry has additional responsibility called agribusinesses. And so let us come back home and ask her, why is it that people don't want to invest? Why is it that we are not scaling up production? The scale of production has to do with the cost of borrowing. And I'm happy Maybank Nelson spoke about it, and Nelson was very kind enough to say that, honest enough to say that, look, the interest rate that we are borrowing, they are borrowing to us to do business, is outrageous. And he asks that even inflation rate has come down to single digits. Crime rate has come down to 21.5, isn't it? Ghana referencing rate for which they use as part of their indoors things to do to come out with an interest rate have all come down. He spoke about their own risk that Association of Ghana bankers tell them to use so that they can come down out with interest rate for us. And currently, he thinks that interest rate probably is hovering around 19 or so. Is that not it? Or 20? Or 24%, exactly. Yeah. But the point is that if after the government have done prudent expenditure and everything has come down, why is it that the commercial bank's interest rate is still on the high? Somebody. So you see, you and I, they are taking our tax to pay somebody. Who is that person? The governor of Bank of Ghana. And I expect the Bank of Ghana to say to look, because his predecessor, okay, you remember him. What is his name? Dr.
Ernest Addison.
Ernest Addison. Up prime rate some few years ago, about 2 years ago, and faces you the cameras. And you people, I don't know why you won't go to Bank of Ghana and ask questions. And he told them that, look, this prime rate I'm upping is to fight inflation. Remember, that was when inflation was running into 54%. Yeah. And that's all. And then he asked the commercial bank that up your interest rate. You remember? Yeah. Atta, you were here.
2022.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if all these indicators have come down, why can't Bank of Ghana, the governor, look into commercial bank and say, my friend, your interest rate must come down?
Yeah.
That is what we are talking. Yeah. We are saying that if now, as to speak now, energy levels, petrol, if you go some time ago, you go and buy per liter, let's say 20 cedis. Today to buy per liter is less than 30 cedis, isn't it? Or 12 cedis. Then cost of utility tariff is high. So who's to speak? Minister of Energy or Minister of Finance to say, look, my brother, I've brought a good policy. There's stability. Please tell your director at VRA, tell your director at
there are legacy debts in the industry.
Hold on.
You cannot make statements in isolation.
There are legacy debts, but we know that they are clearing. Some of the payment they are clearing. When they came to government, the amount that we are owing West African gas pipe, Nigeria.
Mr. Wingobet, you have to mop up. You need to mop up. Then you pay off.
Okay,
you offset.
So you see how you are debating with me here.
I'm not
when you go to the market and you are buying the price, don't come back and say, Mr. Sake, you people your prices of goods are on high. It's because at the end of the day, they are coming back to us to collect so much taxes. So we have to increase the price. But seeing the economic indicators, prices must come down. You go to the port, as we talk about 10.9 now we are using at the port in calculating duty, prices of goods should come down from. Then that should encourage, by when we give manufacturers better utility tariff, then they will produce, economic of scale, will produce more to compete with the importer. Then look, the importer, no importer has the interest to go flying out. If you see the turbulence times, at times when you are in the plane, then you will go and bring goods when the goods is here. So let us encourage, let us produce. And again, the commercial banks, they are shying away from borrowing. No, you give my colleagues more time. I wrote the time down. So let me speak. The commercial banks are also shying away from borrowing to farmers or manufacturers. What they are doing, they are borrowing for consumption. They want to give to the importer to go quick and bring goods and they take their profit. They are not looking at long-term borrowing. Okay? So that is the challenge we are having in this country. Let us encourage them, go back and borrow. And I was happy when the Bank of Ghana, the governor met with their captains and told them that, look, go and develop product towards agribusinesses. You remember? Yeah. He said, go and develop product towards agribusinesses. Let us not shy away, because that is the only way. A farmer or a manufacturer cannot just put a factory one night or produce one night. You need 2 years, you need 3 years. That's the kind of things, the medium-term, long-term program, so that at least we can produce to meet the market demand. The volumes are here. We need it.
Is it Ataisa or Isata?
Ataisa is the name.
Ataisa, okay. So, Mr. Ataisa, he talks about, if I do the deductions, risk.
Yes.
So you take the right, the sound option, yes, so to speak. And then also, to set up anything locally, you look at what affects the bottom line.
Yes.
And so you look at within the short to medium term when you can break even.
Yes.
And so he's talking about 2-3 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. But also he's talking about the environment. Mm-hmm. So the environment has to be conducive. It also means that policy has to be attractive. So we're talking about incentives.
Yes.
All right. If we want to do that, what then limits us as a state? Where the state is the entity that drives this, is the connecting, is the fulcrum or the center around which all these could be achieved.
Yes.
For the banks to have the confidence that whatever it is that we're experiencing in Forex, it's going to be sustainable, let's say for a period of 3 quarters. And so we could do projections for that order. And then they also, as members, whether it's GUTA or importers and exporters, could say that, well, for a period of 3 quarters, we could say we could take a risk for 1 quarter. And so even if after a quarter, the next quarter, something is not well, we could revert back the 3rd quarter. And so what prevents you, government, as the driver of policy, to be able to say, look, I want to implement policies that could give confidence to these sub-sectorial agencies or sectors to be able to create an environment that everybody needs?
No, I think the question is not necessarily what should government do. I'm saying that if you look at existing literature on cost of doing business, government has a role to play, and then the private sector also has a role to play. So for me, government, I've mentioned at the introduction stage, the various tax reforms and other reforms that the government is introducing to make ease of doing business possible. And then the second issue too is that if you look at the current program by government under the 24-hour economy, in fact, it will feature in today's budget a lot. The idea is to create a value-added economy, an export-led economy, and an import substitution economy. So we'll come through with subsidies, we'll come through with tariff schemes, and we'll come through with necessary security protection for various industries that we can have competitive advantage over the rest of the world. So government already have some programs like that. In fact, if you look at the 2025 budget and even its implementation, the amount of tax exemptions that we give to local foreign companies has reduced because we believe that we have local capacity to produce those things. So for me, government is doing, but as to whether it is enough and to ensure market predictability, and Roland, every economic activity is a function of revenue. So it is about availability of revenue to take as a buffer or some sort of a collateral to ensure market predictability for businesses to plan. So, for example, if you look at June, July, August, September, there was some level of influx or instability in the forex market. So businesses, whether it's 11 today, tomorrow is 12, tomorrow is 13. So it was almost eroding the benefits that we had for the first 2 quarters. So market predictability is not only dependent on government, it's a collective decision we must all take. Now, I want to just do some few pointers.
But you do agree the market response based on what they see?
Yeah, of course. That's what I've already told you.
Based on projections. Because they've experienced before. So hindsight is always good for them. So they don't want to take the risk.
Of course, that's what I'm saying, that today's budget will signal those informations and the business community will be happy with that. Because the idea is that we want to do a value-added export-led economy and an import substitution economy where we produce what we have capacity to do. Because if you look at our problem, the whole influx of our problem is because of exchange rate differentials. In fact, if you look at the public debt under Akufo-Addo, the total debt stock that they borrowed actually from 122 billion, it was supposed to be about 536 billion. Because of exchange loss, it took it to 761 billion Ghana cedis. So our problem, the debt accumulation in this country, is not as a result of mismanagement, but inability to manage your forex. But to assure farmers, I'm saying that
that's part of mismanagement.
No, but the truth of the matter is that
as
I agree.
You have that responsibility to ensure you give value to your local currency.
I agree.
And that has to do with
Guta is challenging you. But that if you're not able to manage the monetary side and then the FX, then that's also mismanagement.
Let me just say something. Ghana operates a flexible exchange regime.
Managed float.
Yes.
Managed float.
Where our interventions are not too excessive. The second issue too is that the government currently, if you look at 2024, our CD depreciated by cumulative 28%. Currently, we are appreciating.
Yes.
So,
More than 30%.
so there is a signal that things are changing. To assure farmers this year, government has released 100 million Ghana cedis to the buffer stock.
To do what?
To purchase the rice glut that we have in the system. Because, look, the idea is not, when they say...
Purchase where?
For buffer stock for schools.
So at what rate?
No, we'll get those fine details.
That's
a different discussion. No, but the point is that...
You also let us know, because we make investments.
Yes.
We're seeing how our investments are dwindling.
Yes.
Because of current economic challenges.
Yes, I agree.
So if there's 100 million...
Is it the same buffer stop, the Hanan buffer stop? The money goes into people's pockets. You say how many has been released?
100
million to buffer stop.
Yes. And the idea is that, look, the problem is not that government has been inefficient in addressing the issues of farmers. I'm a rice farmer myself. The concern is the cost of production. We know most of the imports that we did for fertilizer. Ghana does not manufacture fertilizers. We imported it from last year and all those things. The cost of farming, yes, the cost of farming is still high.
Exactly.
So because of that, now, because of inflation coming down and other improvement in the macro environment, it has driven down some prices.
Yes.
As a result of that, you can no longer go and sell a bag of rice in the market at 600 Ghana.
No.
Nobody will buy.
No.
But when you look at the cost that you used to get that back, it is still high.
Yeah.
Laura, just give me a minute to talk about the lending rate.
You
It's
have it.
true.
You have
It's
the
true that it is still high, especially when you look at our sub-region. Access to credit is very good to engineer private sector growth. However, we must acknowledge that there has been a reduction in the lending rate.
Yes.
That cannot
The government must tell the commercial banks.
Yes.
Must first tell them when
No.
they were increasing prime rate and inflation.
Yes.
They told the commercial banks to increase their interest rate.
Yes, yes. So I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that if you don't know where you are coming from, you won't know where you are going.
Yeah.
We must acknowledge that there has been some reduction. In fact, I know businesses that takes commercial loans from private banks in Ghana at 19.6%.
Yes.
I know that. So you can see that there is some reduction. I disagree with Mr. Jackson talking about post-IMF, we must borrow more in the private sector, in the local economy. The reason is that you must find ways of reducing interest rate that allows the private sector to have access to that capital. These days, many businesses in Ghana or many banks have lazy way of investment strategies. All they do is to buy from the government treasury bills.
Excellent.
That is not a smart way of investment. So for me, it is not.
You mean on the books, it's not smart?
It's not smart.
But looking at the way our market keeps tumbling, recent experience,
yes,
that's
so
smart.
That's what I'm saying. It is not sustainable. It is not something that will help the country because the the commercial banks going to buy about 111.1 billion Ghana cedis in 2025 alone from government because of short-term or maturing debt. It is not good. Imagine this money had been sent to the private sector.
To manufacture.
What would have been the
This
impact?
is the era to
So if you look at those things...
The point is this. It's not the banks that are asking for the money.
Finally, let me conclude. Let me conclude. Now, the Eurobond
and
market...
exported, they have a lot of problems.
Yes, the Eurobond market, I am happy. And yes,
and then
Ghana...
the local
local borrowing by government, I disagree. But I'm saying that...
The bond market.
The bond market, the Eurobond market. Ghana has currently favorable external credit ratings.
Should we go in?
Yeah, we should. We should.
At what rate?
concessional rates. In fact, Senegal, somebody mentioned Senegal earlier.
I did.
Yeah, he mentioned. Senegal sometimes gets those Eurobonds at 6%.
Yes.
So if we are talking about 19% and all those 11%, it's very high.
Very high.
So if you go to external market, right now, the external credit systems has rated us very high. If you look at the IMF program, it has given us some level of credibility.
The space.
As a result of that, the space is there.
There's space to
Currently, Finance Minister Atuforsen has a lot of fiscal rigidities in the economy. If you remember when we came here after the review, there were concerns of him not spending. Why was he not spending? Because of the expenditure rationalization. So I'm submitting today that I am particularly happy that government has announced that it will return to the capital market. And the Roland energy sector, the private sector has just complained. Yesterday I was with the CEO of Bui, and he took me through the cost build-up. And that government should spend an average of $450 million to get more solar that will produce the electricity to ECG. They currently do it at $10.24. They can do it at 7.05 if government invests $450 million to expand our solar. So to that end, the finance minister should earmark some sort of fund for us to pursue the renewable energy.
Mr. Apiakubi, you wanted to make... I'm coming to him, but you wanted to make an intervention. Relax.
What I was saying is, Honorable was saying that the banks are not being smart by investing in T-bills. And the point is, it is not the banks looking for the money to invest. It is government looking for money for his expenditure. Okay, so when you have a government that have high appetite for borrowing, that's where we talk about a crowding out effect. Yes. But within this period, you have seen that the president or the government has been very prudent in terms of expenditure.
But you, the businessman, complain. He's not spending.
No, we have, no.
On Cheska.
Depending on when you want to look at his expenditure. Okay, but the point is, you have reduced his appetite to borrowing, and as such, we have available funds to borrow from the banks. Now, the banks are calling you for lending. That means that the crowding out effect that we had experienced some years back has been reduced. So it's not like the banks are, and on the ordinary, when you talk about rates in terms of lending, it is much more safer to give to the government. That's what the Bush told us than giving to the private sector. So that's what the Bush told us until we experienced the opposite. Way too much. So the point I'm making is that
what the motivational speaker said we should invest in bonds and all that. 10 years, 5 years.
Yeah. I am a banker. I do a lot of analysis of financial statements. And what we have realized in the past is that the banks, they are in business to make money.
That's right.
To the extent that they are in business to make money, as much as possible, they may want to reduce their risk significantly.
That's right.
I did mention earlier that when you look at the non-performing loans in Ghana now, it's way above 20%. So when you have a sector that the non-performing loans is more than 20%, then it means that it's a red line. There is a problem in there. Number two, in 2023 and 2024, the banks were tilting their attention towards government instruments because then inflation was way above 40% and the TB rate was also very appetizing to the banks. So me as a banker, I would prefer to sit in my office, give the money to the government. I will not worry myself, expending any cost in terms of recovery of loan and make my interest. So when you look at a typical bank's financial statement, you realize that about 40% of their assets or 30% of their assets are destinated to government securities. Because the banks, they will not spend money chasing customers to do any recovery. So, yes, that's good. But that will also not help the economy to grow. Now, let me quickly react to what the Honorable MP said about. You see, I've always been saying that we have practiced what you call colonial economic model for so long a time, where we export only raw materials and then we get the forex and we are okay. But this is about leadership. And I'm sure the stability of the economy we are enjoying now, for us to sustain this stability would depend on the kind of leadership at the forefront of the monetary policy and the fiscal policy that we have going forward. And as a market watcher, I can say confidently that we see that leadership in the president and the finance minister.
The two institutions are talking together.
Yes.
The monetary and the fiscal policy.
The fiscal policy, they are actually working. So we see that leadership in the president, we see that leadership in the finance minister, and we see that leadership in the governor of Bank of Ghana. But before just 1 second, that when you look at the forex, the gross reserve that we have built now, it moved from about $8 billion to about $12 billion. That is largely dependent on exportation of commodities. But you see, there are risks that are inbuilt there. For instance, gold. January 2025, an ounce of gold was trading at $2,600. Currently, we are doing about $4,140 per ounce. So we are making so much in terms of gold receipts.
By way of the windfall.
By way of the windfall. In fact, that has actually contributed significantly towards the reserve that we are building. Number two, crude. We also export crude. Crude at the beginning of the year was trading at $74, but currently it has reduced to $64. In fact, I schooled in North Africa. I know North Africa, they are predominantly into production of, petroleum. And when they are preparing their budget, we call it an annual budget funding amount, a percentage, ABFA. They call it the reference rate. And so if at the time they were preparing the budget, a barrel of crude is $64, they will say, okay, give or take, let's price it at $60. So anytime the price reduces below $60, then the budget is thrown off board. You understand? Now at the beginning of the year, the crude was 74, and then now it is at 64. It means that the ABFA will be one way or the other affected. Number three, cocoa. At the beginning of the year, cocoa was trading at $11,512. But currently, the price has reduced significantly to about $6,000, which means, so the risk factors are inbuilt there. So once we base our, economy purely on exportation of raw materials, it means that when these shops happen, it quickly
add value addition.
Good. That is where I'm coming. That he mentioned value-added led economy. Fantastic. He also talks about the export-driven economy and import substitution industries. Once we are able to roll out policies in this regard, what it means is that all the gains that we have made now will be sustained into the future.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for passing through our studios. You wanted to have a last bite?
I wanted to say that they talk about investment and borrowing for consumption, and I really agree with Joe Jackson. But I want to let the government, I'm sure the government is listening, is watching. We had, MPS came to develop our port terminal for us, about $1.2 billion or so.
Yeah.
I am saying that investment in port infrastructure, there's money. The returns is very high.
Okay.
It's secured. As they are talking about risk here, the Keta port that we want to build and other infrastructure, I think that we should look within here, borrow, let Ghanaians buy shares, and we will get the money back and build in our economy than to go and borrow from outside Ghana, and they will take the money within the shortest possible time.
Thank you, thank you, gentlemen, and good to have all of you right in the studio as well. But we also encourage you that you have to pep up your day or peck up your day the Milky Way with a rich, smooth taste of milk shortcake. It is just pure delight. So they have various flavors. They have the choco butter cookies. They also have the butter cookies in itself, and then the coconut butter cookie. And all of it is also for you. The choco-filled one is also available. And so they have all those flavors. Please make sure that you get into a confectionery shop near you. I have had in the studio Joe Jackson online for us. Joe Jackson, thank you very much, with Dalex Finance, and then also Member of Parliament for Sagneregu, and then also a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Ataisa, coming to the studio. And then we had Emmanuel Kutin early on, and then Nelson Kwagbeje is with Meban Capital, but also a finance and tax person, doing a lot of teaching, MBA lessons this morning, so that's also good. And then coming with experience from industry, Samson Asaki Awingobit, also in the studio, and Charles Kusi Apia Kubi, Head Business and Economic Bureau, the Ghana Union of Traders Association. It's been some great and then insightful discussions so far. I see a couple of you